Settle up, cause we're about to get up. Yeehaw! Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode. I mean, I've clicked the wrong screen because I'm an idiot. There we go. Just a Brew with J2, and today we have two very special guests with us. We have Mr. Waffle Stomp Oz. How you going, Paul?
I'm alright, mate. How are you today?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. And we have his very good friend and a friend of the stream, Mr. Luke.
Hey, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
All good.
Good man, good man. So, you're not Pommy Oz in the chat, are you, Luke, just to clarify?
No, I'm Drunkle Bob.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. So, I hope
I'm a
everybody's...
Pominos.
What's that? Sorry, you're in Oz?
I am a Pominos.
Yeah, well, that's true, that's true. So, just for the stream, Luke, because I know a couple of people already in the stream know Paul. So, Luke, give people a rundown in the chat of who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing in fucking Australia, considering you're English.
Well, I flew out here and it was too far to go back home again. You know, 2 days on a plane. Once they stopped smoking and drinking down the back, it was no fun.
When did you... how old was you when you moved to Australia?
Mid-teens.
Mid-teens?
So,
Was it
yeah.
a massive change, like a massive culture change for you?
Yeah, everything being reversed. You know,
Upside down?
Summer going to... Yeah, I've got to walk on my hands now. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Christmas at the beach.
What month did you move there? That's quite interesting, actually. You know?
January. We were on a underground out to Heathrow, and it broke down because of the snow. So we got, there were 3 trains pushing each other all the way to Heathrow before we boarded the plane. Sitting on there for 2 days, got off at Sydney Airport.
Boiling
it's
hot.
42 degrees at 5 a.m.
In your coat.
Yeah.
In your coat and jeans. Meanwhile, every other fucker's in their shorts and vest, their wife beater. Jesus, that must have been horrible, like just the complete heat change. Or did you see it more of like a holiday when you arrived?
Look, you get used to it. You know, where we lived, there was a swimming pool, so I spent most of the time in the pool.
Of course, and probably still do.
No, now I've acclimatized to it all. If it drops below 18, 19 degrees, it's too cold.
Oh, you wouldn't be able to come back here then. It's most of the year.
Yeah, summer's the best 2 weeks back there.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Best 2 weeks of the year. And Paul, so for anybody that doesn't know Mr. Waffle Stomp Oz, as you can see him just dropping swear words in the chat and the mods deleting them very quickly after him. Paul, give people a little bit of backstory of who you are.
Who am I? Jesus, that's a dangerous question, really. I mean, do you want what I enjoy, like moonlit walks along the parapet? And,
Yeah, all of that stuff.
Sunset, all that sort of stuff. No, mid-30s, Aussie, as you can probably tell from the accent. Been basically, well, I guess you and I met through DOJ, really. I've been on DOJ since, April or May, I think, this year. But yeah, Aussie, I do stream. I obviously don't stream DOJ at the moment. Play a bit of Warships. But yeah, I've been on Aussie. Lived here most of my life. I have lived in Hungary, in Europe, and in the Midwest US as well.
To the pride.
Nothing is like leaving. And it's funny what Luke was saying about leaving cold Britain and coming to Australia. When I left Wisconsin, it was
Freezing there, isn't it?
Yeah, it was minus 35 the day I left, and arrived back in Sydney, and it was plus 38, I think.
Did you get sick from that? From such a sharp change?
Okay, I'm going to correct you here, James, mate. You've got to be exposed to a virus to actually become sick. You can't get a cold from a temperature change.
You can't get like a fever or anything like that from extreme heat changes?
You can get like a sore throat, but you can't get like a virus. Factual right there.
Yeah.
Scientifically factual. It works.
My friend would always moan when it was hot in it, like Luke just said about being hot for 2 days. When he'd come in from outside into the air-conditioned room, he'd nearly pass out from the heat change. Like, I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude?
Yeah, funnily enough, actually, both times I've left where I've lived apart from Australia, so Hungary and the US, it's gone through an extreme heat change. When I left Hungary, it was probably a bit milder. It was about minus 15, and flew straight to my brother's wedding in Malaysia, and it was about 44 degrees and 1,000% humidity.
Oh.
And that did not make me feel good. And I actually remember it because going through transit, we went through Doha, and then flew into KL, and then we got another plane and went up into northern Malaysia. So I was always in an air-conditioned environment. I was either in an airport or in a plane, And then I remember leaving the airport when we finally got to our destination in Malaysia, and the glass doors, opened as you're approaching the exit to the airport, and my God, it felt like I started swimming. Just the humidity going from that European dry winter into the hot, humid,
Literally drinking the air.
summer. Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's me.
Nice, dude. So, quick shout-outs. Kennedy was here first. Quentin was here. Pommy Oz. Waffle Stomp Oz. Aviation Dan. Who else do we have here? Nathan, how you doing? And Quentin's back. Yeah, podcast today. How you doing, Quentin? So, as you've seen with the Just to Brew streams before, pretty similar to today's tape, but just a little bit different, because obviously we haven't got Jamie and Razum here with us. But I've been chatting a lot with Paul over the last few days, and obviously Paul's a streamer as well. So mods, if we could give Waffle Stomp Oz a shout out, and him and Luke stream a lot together. Luke, do you actually stream, or are you just sort of like the tag teamer?
Turned it on. Well, I have turned it on from time to time, but generally I'm just the comedic backup to keep him awake. The
Robin to his Batman.
Yeah, something like that. He keeps me in a cave and barely feeds me.
Can I just say, he does actually keep me awake. That 24-hour stream, Luke, I got to give him so much credit. He stayed with me through the whole bloody deal.
So you split the financials with him, yeah?
Of course.
Yeah, checks in the mail, he said.
Yeah, it's still on the way.
Must have been lost, you know how coronavirus has been with mail. Yeah.
Aviation Dan was shouting out Waffle Stomp. Oh, Saftar, how you going? You know the show Afterlife on Netflix? Yeah, of course, Ricky Gervais. Do you guys like British comedy, like the British comedy shows?
I'm biased.
You know what? I'm more into like British crime drama at the moment. I think we were talking the other day, and I really got into Line of Duty. That is good. Amazing. Yeah,
with the Scottish guy. He plays an Englishman, doesn't he? The Scottish man plays the main protagonist in it. He's English in the show, though.
As opposed to everything David Tennant's in, where he's a
Englishman.
He plays.
Oh no,
English. He's the same. Yeah, Scottishman playing an Englishman.
He's good as Doctor Who, though, isn't he? He's a great Doctor Who.
He's good in everything.
Yeah, he's not. Go on.
You look like a younger Ricky Gervais. There you go, mate.
I do. Thank you. You look like a younger version of the guy. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, thanks. I mean, I think I'll take that as a compliment. He's got a bit of a wide head, so I'm taking it you're telling me I've got a slab head. Thank you. Appreciate the compliment. All right, so... Paul, I'm trying to think of that guy that you look like in Hollywood. Honestly, I can't...
In Hollywood? Geez, now that's a compliment. Unless it's fucking... Jesus Christ. What's his name? That guy with issues. I mean, they've all got fucking issues, don't they?
They're actors, of course. They've got issues.
Well, the one that topped himself about 10 years back.
Oh, God. No, I think his name's Paul as well. Actor. No. Oh, what movies has he been in? He's got the same hair as you, basically.
You tell me, mate. You tell me what movies he's been in. I might be able to assist.
Oh, no. No. I need to get this picture up just to show people that the picture that I mean. I'm going to your Twitter. Hold on.
Oh, Jesus. This is dangerous.
Hold on.
Who did your chat say you looked like?
Ricky Gervais. Oh, sorry.
That I look like?
Yeah, there was a thing about a week or so ago, or a couple of weeks ago, where people were talking about who you
look
at
like. That guy.
This is that you? Is that you, Paul?
It is actually.
That's you. You proper look like the actor, and I can't think what his fucking name is.
Mind you, it looks bloody squashed there. It's look like a munted.
Yeah,
I look munted there.
I can't think who it is. The guy, the actor. He's been in lots of things. He plays like crazy, funny. He's usually a bad guy in movies. And he acts a bit skittish. Oh, he's probably a lot older than you now, but when he was younger, he looks like you in that picture. And I actually thought you'd use his headshot. Officeworker.png. That's great.
Officeworker.png, perfect.
It'll come back to me. I'll see him in a movie, probably over Christmas with all the movies that are on. I'll go, there's fucking Paul, straight away.
There he is.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to hop over to the first story. It's a pretty obvious one. It's been swallowed in the media for the last few days. But we're going to talk a bit about the election and Mr. Trump versus Mr. Biden. Now, from what I've seen so far, it looks like Biden's going to take it, right? He's quite close to victory now.
It depends, mate. So I've been watching the election since basically midday yesterday. Now, having lived in the States and actually working in politics, having worked in politics in Australia, I could see this coming a mile off. It was down to the Rust Belt, basically called it into the Rust Belt early, which is those strip of states which are ex-industrial states, and they call it the Rust Belt because of decline in industry in the United States, which means all those warehouses are now rusting. So that's Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and then a little bit stretch into upstate New York. Now, Wisconsin, for me, having lived there previously in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, about halfway through, but actually, well, I mean, how can we say? Probably 6 hours in the election, I said, Wisconsin's going to be a key state, obviously. And what you're seeing in the United States is pretty much the opposite, nearly the opposite to what you see in Australia, which is in Australia, cities typically vote, apart from the very inner cities, city and suburban areas typically vote Conservative, and regional areas can typically vote more to the left side of politics. In the States, that's completely reversed. So you've got Democrats in the suburbs, very Democratic areas, and then in the outer counties, in the outer part of the more rural part of the states, you get Republicans. What really comes down to this election now is how Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia are being counted. Pennsylvania is out of the question. Georgia is very interesting because Atlanta, the cities, the suburbs around Atlanta have not been counted completely. That's why it keeps Trump's current lead keeps getting disintegrated. Same thing in Arizona. You see all the new suburban areas around Phoenix, they're starting to come through as well, and they're starting to really show that Biden could actually come out on top in Arizona. The point system at the moment means that Biden needs 17 electoral votes. He can get that with the 11 and 6 from Arizona and Nevada, or he could just kick that straight out of the ballpark, win Georgia, and off to the races, because that's 17 there. So look, it comes down now to, can Biden hold his lead in both Nevada and Arizona? If he can, he wins. Or can he actually overtake Trump in Georgia? If he does, he wins. So look, it's likely for a Biden win.
Is it possible that neither of them could reach 270?
No, it's not possible.
So somebody has to reach 270. It's physically impossible to not reach it.
Given the split so far, yeah.
No, like somebody will always will always get 270. It doesn't matter on the splits, someone will always get 270.
So they'll never have a hung parliament like the UK, where it's like, oh, what are we going to do? We haven't got enough votes.
Well, you do, because you have the hung Senate and
House of Reps.
House of Reps, yeah.
But you'll still have a president.
Yeah, you'll still have a president. The way it's looking at the moment, Biden's going to face, if he makes it through, he's going to face the same problem that Obama had, where everything gets pushed through reps, but once it gets to the Senate, he's pushed down because the Republicans are going to stay up there.
Well, the only time that I can recall since probably the 50s. Now, I wasn't obviously born back then, but the only time since the 50s when a president actually when the same party held executive branch, so president, legislative branch, which is the House of Reps, and the Senate, and the judicial branch in the Supreme Court, was George W. Bush, and he held that for about 3 years, I think, until the midterm elections. That's not to say that just because the Senate is held by a different party than the Republicans, or because the House is held by a different party from the Senate, no legislation gets passed. That's not what's going to happen. It doesn't mean that it's hung and shit's not going to happen. Hung usually means that no clear party has a majority in either house. So, for example, in Australia, we had a hung parliament about maybe a little bit longer. 7 years ago, we had a hung parliament, which meant our two main parties couldn't make up a majority, and it was down to crossbench minor parties to actually make up that majority, which meant we had a hung parliament, and so that crossbench in the middle would always be able to negotiate. That's not what's going to happen in the state. They're not going to be hung. It just means the Senate might be in a different party's control than the House.
Well, what they're looking at the moment is the Republicans, they're leading into, so they're looking like they'll keep 50. Democrats look like 46, and they've got 2 for other parties. But there's still three seats to be officially signed off on that one. No one's going to get majority in the Senate, at least. It just depends on how the bills will go through.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Now, this whole stuff I'm Petty's just brought up in your chat about the lawsuits. Now you got to remember that Biden has won the popular vote. He's well over the 50% threshold. I don't think even if Trump got every single vote remaining, he would actually win the popular vote. You've got to remember in year 2000 when it came down to Florida and 537 votes, Bush it was Bush v. Gore. Now Gore challenged it. Bush took it to court. It all went tits up, but the Supreme Court basically stood back and said, well, no, like it's not our, like the way that your votes are counted is up to your state's jurisdiction. What the state declares is it. It doesn't matter. Like you can throw so many legal challenges at this thing. It's watertight. Basically, the American system, despite, our understanding of it coming from, a parliamentary democracy, looking at a republic, it's a complete mess to us, but their system actually does make a lot of sense when it comes down to it. The state has full control over its own counting processes, how the rules are around mail-in ballots, around what lateness they can count. So it's down to the states to actually legislate it. But Trump will always, threaten to throw lawsuits out. It doesn't mean they're going to pass it. The reason why I mentioned the popular vote is because the Supreme Court's basically going to say, well, he won the popular vote. Why would we overturn a frivolous lawsuit in, say, Georgia or Nevada or Arizona, just because this guy wants to hold on to power? It's never going to happen. Mark my words, a lawsuit will never, ever, ever be successful in this situation.
Well, the stupid thing is that Trump's calling for a lawsuit to stop the votes, but he's calling to stop the counting in states where he's ahead, like Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, all of that sort of thing. He's not asking for it in Arizona, where he's down 60,000 with 88% reported. So that could still turn around to be a Trump state as long as the votes keep getting counted. So he's being very selective where he wants them counted and where he doesn't. And at the end, that's going to turn around and bite him on the ass, because you can't have it both ways. And that's the way the Supreme Court will look, is, well, hang on a second.
Exactly. It's really hypocritical. I'm glad you mentioned it, Luke, because it has bit him on the butt. But I've got to give Biden credit in terms of electoral strategy. For you guys that are in the United States, you would have noticed Biden just completely dumped Texas, did not think it was worth it. And he went to Arizona and campaigned hard in Arizona, directed funds there, directed funds to Nevada instead. Now, the other thing you got to understand about Arizona is the impact of the now late Senator John McCain. Now, when McCain voted down his own party's repeal of Obamacare, right, in the Senate, he was the deciding vote, and he voted against his own party to keep Obamacare. Now, that was critical because that set him on an off footing with Donald Trump. Trump then basically, after Senator McCain unfortunately died, he said, this guy's not a war hero because he was a POW. He was a loser because he got caught by the enemy. Now, you got to understand that John McCain was a much-loved son of Arizona, right? A much-loved son of Arizona. Now, for Trump to insult John McCain after his death when he was so loved by that state, I think has actually had a huge impact at the ballot, where people have gone, if you're a Republican, you're going, well, fuck Trump. You've insulted a great senator of this state who was a senator for over 40, 50 years and a war hero. I'm going to vote for Biden. And I think that's actually had a massive impact, and it's come back to bite Trump on his ass.
It's very all over the place, isn't it, with Trump? He's never very linear with anything he does. Have you noticed that? It's always to keep people on their toes. He's always here and there so that his opponents can't really guess what he's gonna do.
Well, the skeptics will say that he doesn't know what he's gonna do next.
Yeah, people are saying, in the chat there, they're saying, oh, he's gonna go to the Supreme Court and all this and all that. Is there any possibility before the votes come in the decision, he just mobilizes the military and says, take Joe Biden into custody for running an illegal rigged election or something like that?
Okay, so a domestic action by the military in the United States has to be an act of Congress because they handle domestic issues. So that's their constitution. The president can mobilize the National Guard with the approval of the governor of that state. So the governor has to approve the use of National Guard. Now, it really depends. If it's not declared under FEMA, the military can't assist unless Congress accepts that. Now, who's in control of Congress. So it's never going to happen. It's never. Trump basically can't mobilize the military or do anything. That's never ever going to happen. He's not that fucking crazy. And my words, he's not crazy. He's not that fucking nuts. Yes, he's a little bit unstable, but I don't think he's that stupid. And there's no way that Congress would approve any type of military, domestic incursion like Donald Trump in order to, ignore the results of an election.
Having said that, he can sit back in his chair, cross his arms, and say, "I'm not moving."
You have to come and move
far, but he can
take this presidency out of my cold dead hands. You could totally imagine him doing that. So what we'll do is, while we're on the presidency, because I think people have been we had to touch base on it because people have been getting absolutely absorbed with it all, and we wanted to touch base on it. There's still votes to come in, like we've already said, so I mean, in a few days I'm sure it'll be a lot more clear who's won, or maybe it won't. Maybe we'll be going back and forth for a few months.
Can I just say, this time tomorrow it'll be pretty clear. Yeah. I know that Georgia is planning to wrap up. So it's evening Sydney time at the moment. They're planning to wrap up kind of early morning for us and have a good idea. I know that Arizona and Nevada should also come in at that time.
Well, based on tomorrow morning, based on AAP, Arizona, Pennsylvania at 88%, North Carolina 94% reported. Georgia 98% reported, so they should all come through in the next couple of hours. Nevada's only at 75% though.
Nevada and Arizona won't come in the next couple of hours.
And that's
tomorrow.
That's 8,000 votes different. Biden's only got an 8,000 vote lead there, so that one's tight, Nevada.
Yeah.
That's the 6
That's great.
Needs.
Yeah, I was going to touch base on that, Paul. What did you say yesterday, Paul? What was the line that you said to me yesterday when we was chatting last night? You can't wait to see the end of...
I can't... Yeah. So if Trump wins, as the Q-Mix, you've just brought up a really good point. I kind of, when things were looking pretty solid, Donald Trump, after about 4 hours of counting, I think I said to Jay, I love watching the final episode of the United States, but it looks like we could get another series, which is good.
So we'll make it a little bit more lighthearted now. I've got Pip with me. She's just jumped up to say hello. But we're going to move. Look at the camera. Good girl. Right, so we'll move on to the next story here, which is going to be still related to the politics, but it's a little bit more lighthearted. And it's Americans have been offered emotional support Canadians following a tough election night. Now, I think this is brilliant because I've seen, I've got family in Canada, and please excuse all the adverts on this article, but I think the Canadians are sort of poking fun at the Americans. They're saying, like, do you need help down there? Like, everything's all good up here. You can always hop over the border if things get a little bit too much. Now, do you guys have that thing with New Zealand like America have with Canada, where it's always like a bit of banter back and forth? Or
we have the banter. Like New Zealand is our, I guess it's a different relationship between the US and Canada. Like our as you know, Jay, like the humor of Australians is much more British and that as well of the Kiwis, the New Zealanders. So it's much more of, what would you say? Look, it's much more of a very sarcastic rivalry. We love to give each other a lot of shit, but when push comes to shove and things get serious, it's a very, very, very close, very friendly and very loving relationship between the two countries.
Well, they're they're our eighth state, whatever.
Yes, our East Islands. Yes.
Yeah. And there's a lot of love between them. Recently, Australia's had a tough year. I mean, I know the world's had a tough year, but Australia's had a pretty
fires
tough year. Yeah, we burnt for the first half.
Then we flooded for the... we burnt in the first quarter. We flooded in the second quarter. Meanwhile, coronavirus was ripping through everywhere here. So
there was... New Zealand was offering a lot of Australians a chance to come and live over here. RPM, it's great. She's amazing. She's wonderful. We love you. Come over here. Because there was I know we're staying off the political, but there was a lot of stuff about the current Australian government, so a lot of Australians wanted to look to move to New Zealand.
Do you have an do you have an open back and forth with New Zealand, like an agreement where you can just move there?
We got open immigration with New Zealand.
That's pretty amazing.
So, for example, I could fly tomorrow to New Zealand and start working straight away.
Like we had prior to Brexit with Europe.
But correct. It's not quite reciprocal. We can go over there and do things, but And even if we get into trouble, the government will help us out in New Zealand. But if Kiwis come over to Australia, there's a lot of hoops they've got to jump through before they can get government assistance for stuff. But they can come over here and work and live and pay taxes. That's not a problem. It's just if they ask for something back, then it's not.
Financial aid. You're like, hold on, you're not from here. Is that what they do?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
I don't speak
isn't
Kiwi.
it?
Off you go.
Well, it is interesting because Australia very much has one-way relationships for its citizens, and one of the best examples of that is our reciprocal arrangements with Medicare. So, for example, I can travel to Ireland, Norway, Japan, the UK, of course. There are a few other random countries in there. I think Canada used to be one of them. I'm not sure if they still are. And some really random ones, like really random countries in there, Israel, and we get actually the same access to healthcare as a citizen. However, if those citizens come to Australia, they don't get the same access.
So it's basically an agreement the Aussie government have made with, like, you go in that way, but not coming in.
Correct.
Wow, how the hell
Correct.
did they manage to negotiate that?
So if
They had their fingers crossed behind their back.
So if I go to the UK, James, like I can literally, and I've done this before when I was living in Hungary. I fly into London. I can go see a doctor for free. I can go and get all my medications done as an Australian citizen, right?
Yeah.
If you come to Australia, you can't do that in Australia if you're on holiday or whatever. You can't just fly here and expect to see a doctor for free. Go and get your medications at PBS prices, or what you would refer to as NHS prices. You can't do that, but we can do that if we go to a number of different countries, actually. Sweden, Norway, Japan, UK, Ireland.
It's almost like all those countries were conquered by Australia and not the other way around, isn't it? Like, when you look at it like that, it's almost like that it's the Aussies who are the head of the Commonwealth, and it's all the countries that come under their rule, if that makes sense, You look at that rule.
Let's be honest about the current state of the Commonwealth.
Yeah, it's non-existent, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
People want independence. Loads of people want
Commonwealth.
Yeah, but my point is, if you look at that, what you've just said, what Aussies get access to, it's like the Australians took over and they said, right, you can have your independency back as long as our people can use it. But we all know that's not the fact. So it's so odd that you've been rewarded so heavily with all those I wonder what the Aussie government have got on all those nations for them to just offer free healthcare.
You know what it is?
What's that?
Agricultural trade and mining trade.
About to say trade. We've got what everybody else wants.
Land.
We've got agriculture. No, we got agriculture. So massive agricultural industry and mining. So oil, gas, and coal.
Oh, is that a big export for Australia?
And uranium.
Oil and gas. We have one of the biggest. We have the biggest gas reserves in the world.
Like,
by
that's
far.
interesting.
Yep.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I was going to say, what do you get in return? What's the the reward for giving people so much? So there you go.
Gold,
there's the answer.
Nickel, uranium.
Damn.
Yeah, uranium storage too. We do uranium storage.
We'll sell the ore to you, and then we'll take back your waste.
Correct.
Amazing. So, going back to this story very quickly, this guy said, Dear America, emotional support Canadians are on standby. If you have not received your emotional support Canadian, one will be assigned to you shortly. And there is Justin Trudeau. What do you think of him? What do you think of Trudeau?
He looks a little stunned in that photo.
Yeah,
it's like he's not quite ready.
Wait, what? We're taking photos? I didn't give permission for that shit. He looks kind of disgusted.
If I'm going to be honest, I don't pay much attention to Canadian politics.
Yeah.
I know he and Obama had a bit of a bromance going on. And there are some quite funny moments between those two. But in terms of political stance and these policies, I really don't pay that much attention to Canadian politics at all, really.
I'm more interested in French politics.
Although he is handsome.
He is.
Who? Which one? Macron or Trudeau?
Trudeau. Oh.
I'm more interested in the Macron, where was it school teacher he ended up marrying?
His school teacher, she's older,
right,
isn't she?
Right. Yes.
What an absolute lad.
What a lad.
that's France to a T, isn't it?
Yeah, but could you imagine it the other way around? Yeah, she was like, Monsieur Macron, today we will do the French oral. Anyway, moving on. Did you see that Joe Biden jumped to 264 now? I know Kennedy said it earlier.
No, that was only because some states weren't comfortable in declaring Arizona's. So CNN, last time I looked, which was about an hour ago on CNN still hadn't declared Arizona for him, but Arizona is declared. Jump into Georgia. Let's have a look at Georgia.
Where's Georgia?
No, Georgia hasn't declared yet.
Georgia's bottom right above Florida. It's the grey one.
This
just
one,
above
yeah.
Florida. Yep. Yeah. There you go.
Awaiting results.
Yeah, they're at 98%, and they're saying there's 20,000 between Biden and Trump.
Jesus.
Alaska's huge, but it's only got 3 electoral votes. I'm sure the population's
look,
tiny.
That's probably the only issue I have with the collegiate system is the weighting of votes to states, and a lot of that comes back to when the whole system was set up. It was giving preferences to the most important states.
Look. I don't think it doesn't delay. It doesn't delay a result because the electoral college is always going to vote along the lines of the popular vote. Like the issue with the United States is that I think, as we said before, each state has its own vote counting and what it considers a legal vote. Vastly different to its state next door. So, for example, some states need signature verification. Some states don't need that. Some states need voter ID with signature verification. Some states accept votes up to 7 days, mail-in votes up to 7 days after the election, as long as they're postmarked beforehand. Some states only accept votes that were received up to 7 p.m. on election day. So that's why some states have completed counting, they're done, and other states, we still have to wait because mail-in, they've got to wait for mail-in votes that have been.
I'm not talking about the systems. I'm talking about the sizes. Like you take Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania combined is 87 votes.
Yes,
just
that's
3 states, 87 votes.
That's because it's based on population, so it's reflective. It's a proportional population thing. So California, which has the biggest population, it's the most populous state in the United States, has more electoral college votes, which sounds about right. It's not like the Senate system where each state, no matter how piss weak or large it is, has 2 senators. It's not like that. The purpose of electoral college point system is to reflect the actual population spread, and that some states have like 1 million population, other states have 40 million population, and that's reflected in the value of electoral college votes they get.
Brilliant. It's
What's this video?
Okay, so because we said we was going to come away from politics, but I drew us back in by bringing up the Biden thing. We're going to move on to the next story now. So obviously, as you guys may or may not be aware, England has gone back into lockdown as of today, and there's an illegal rave going on, which would have been illegal pre-lockdown anyway. But you can see here, I'll unmute it. Let's see if we can hear anything. What are they counting down? Oh my god, they're trying to attack the police.
That's always a good move.
Oh my god, she's saying get back. Oh my god, they're attacking police officers.
Get back!
Oh my god.
So is this Gloucester?
Yeah. Avon and Somerset, South Gloucester, Yate. What a bunch of pricks, by the way.
Yeet them out of Yate, that's all I have to say.
Yep.
Yeet them out of Yate.
Definitely. This is disgusting. Look at them, just illegally gathering and attacking police officers that have been sent to do their job. You're right, Monkey Ape. Americans would pull out their guns. They would have all been just bloody... Look at them all. What are they doing? It's like a zombie horde.
It's like a zombie horde, isn't it?
Look at them.
Are they all chavs or like?
Yeah, look at them. They're all wearing their tracksuit. They've got barrel.
They're all chavs.
Someone just said there's £1 Jaeger bombs at the bar, so...
Oh, mate, you all know that we'd be... Oh, my God. Okay, advert. Shit, my ears. Sorry, guys.
Nap Queen. Slay the day. Press refresh.
So... Press refresh. I don't know what that song was, Monkey. But yeah, so have you guys ever gone to one of those sorts of things? I mean, you, like me, you're probably a little bit over that sort of shit right now, but...
Look, not in Australia, but certainly in Germany, which is the house of the underground rave. Yes, I've done a few little forays into some not so illegally, not so officially endorsed gatherings of persons of the evening. But yeah. To answer your question shortly, James, yes.
What about you, Luke? Have you ever been? I've never. Do you know what? I've never even been to a rave, like a proper rave. I've never been.
I've just been handed a bit of paper.
Uh-oh.
For legal reasons, I am not obligated to answer that question. Please refer all further questions to my legal team. I have been known to attend certain charity events.
Your lawyer's not going to be happy with you admitting to attending charity events. Oh, that was good, Luke. Did that just slide in from your right-hand side? Was that the wife, or is your representative
it just came
always...
straight under the door, and I was given this paper to read a statement. Yep.
The representative's watching the stream. He's just like, as soon as he's going to say something controversial, I fucking run to the door and slide this under.
It's not the representative that's watching the stream. It's our judicial services, since Luke's been put under house arrest. It's constantly being monitored.
Hey, I'm not under house arrest anymore. You were just saying you're being put into lockdown over there.
Yeah.
We've just come out. I'm from Victoria,
Mm-hmm.
the state in Australia that we had the strictest lockdown laws in Australia.
Can I
for
just say,
coronavirus.
Australia has the most fucked up East Coast state names. So there's Queensland,
Yeah,
New South Wales,
yeah.
and Victoria, and that takes up the whole east side of our country.
And it's all after
Except
the
for the
Brits.
map of Tasmania.
After the Brits. Well, there's Tasmania, which is they're not part of us. Come on.
Are you
They called
near...
it Tasmania because they weren't allowed to call it what it looks like.
Correct.
Does it look like a phallus by any chance?
No, it
No.
looks like a lady
Other
garden.
sex, yeah.
A lady garden.
Have you not seen the map of Tasmania?
No, let me have a look. I'll pull it up. Hold on.
Pull out a map of Tasmania. It literally looks like a lady garden.
A lady garden. Have a look on maps.
See, look at it. Look at it. Look at it. It's a fucking lady garden.
Got that in the sun.
It's Australia's map of Tasmania. You know, you've got the V
Kind
going.
of, yeah. I
Yeah.
can see what you're getting on about here. That does make sense. So, while we're talking about Victoria, are you anywhere near Mornington?
About half an hour.
Oh, we've got my wife's family live there.
It's a nice spot down there, down on the peninsula. It's a really good place to get down for Christmas.
Considering you're an ex-Brit, and obviously they're Brits as well, they moved there a couple of years ago. Is there a huge British contingent in that part of the country? Do you think?
I'd say probably depends on what type of Brit you're talking about.
What does that mean?
Well, look, Perth, Adelaide, and Melbourne have probably got, what would you say, Waffles, the three biggest expat.
Oh, Adelaide for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
Adelaide is the old expats.
Can I
It's
just
the
say?
city of churches.
Can I just say on the Adelaide note, you know, if you speak to any Australian, where their family was traditionally from in Australia. So I will say pool. I swim in something called a pool.
Yeah.
An Australian, because my family originally came across to Adelaide. Half of them, you know, my mum's side, I think, were Adelaide, and my dad's side was Scottish, came across to rural New South Wales. So I say pool, whereas an Australian that does not have that hardcore British heritage will say pule. So you
sorry,
always
what?
know.
I'll say what?
For those so traditionally the Brits that went to Adelaide were from Cornwall. They were all Cornish, right? And so they will say
Tin
pool.
miners.
Yep, tin miners. They'll all say pool.
Which is the
But-
correct way to say it.
Correct. If they did not come from there, from Cornwall, or they've been so, you know, mixed bred in Australia, they will actually say a pule. They'll merely
Like a-
say pule.
Like PWL.
Exactly.
Pule. Oh my god. What makes them... Where is that from? Where does that word originate from?
It's just a crossbreed of everything.
It's just a crossbreed. So the other way to describe it, which is a good word to use, is I say pronunciation, whereas Australians say pronunciation. So
No,
I will
you're
say
saying it
that's
right.
Correct. Because I took my mum's influence, and her family's background is British Cornish. So I say pronunciation, whereas hardcore Aussies will say pronunciation.
You have this
Can I
with...
just say, with
Go
a
on.
spoon in your mouth like that, Waffles, you are not from Cornwall.
You're not from Cornwall.
I am Cornish, born and bred, okay? My father played for the Pirates down at Penzance.
Oh,
Shout out
nice.
to all the boys down at the Admiral Benbow having a few drinks.
No, they we have this with the Americans, don't we? Like how they say certain things, like they say caramel instead of caramel. They say
We
aluminum
say it right.
instead of
Oh,
aluminium.
The one thing that pissed me off when I lived there, like aluminum, yes, irritates me. Caramel irritates me. Pecan for pecans, and basil for basil.
There's
What
another
the
one.
mother of God. And cilantro instead of coriander.
There's another
it's not
vegetable. There's another vegetable like that they say unusually as well. And I can't think what it is, but they do lots of it, don't they? They do root. They say route. I mean route, and I've started saying it now. And my wife, as soon as like, if whatever reason I'm trying to say route, like I'll work the route out before we go, and I'll say I'll work the
but they're
route
two
out, and
different
she hits
things.
me.
I know the vegetable. Stephen Hawking.
No, dude, he's English.
Sorry, I had to get that in there.
No,
I'm sorry.
R.I.P. R.I.P. The legend, the man, the myth, the legend.
But route and root are two completely different things.
But also a router and a router. We call it a
Yeah.
router for, you know, like your
A
internet. But a router is something you cut shit with, isn't it? Like
No,
a
they're
tool.
both routers.
No, in Australia, a router is what you cut stuff with on
Correct.
your internet. A router is the lad down the pub after a few beers is all I promise.
We call it a router downstairs, the internet. Yeah, that
And
sounds
then
bad.
how Americans say, "Oh, I'll be rooting for your team." It's like, who are you rooting for my team? It's like, oh, can I join in? You know, they'll say I'm rooting, like I'm cheering for your team. They'll say I'm rooting for it. It's like, oh well, you know, can I join in on that? So,
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know,
true. That's true. Do they say routing for your team?
No, it's rooting.
Yeah, I was
You
going to
root for your
say.
team.
Yeah, because if you're routing the team, you're like destroying them, aren't you? Beating them. Like there's been a route.
Correct.
Yeah. See, that's when we say route, like, oh, it was an absolute route. But we mean it like they've run over them.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Why is the English language so confusing? Just because,
It's confusing coming over here. Like,
You know why the English language is confusing?
because so many different countries speak it and it was mixed with loads of different cultures?
No, Piggers America.
You think the Americans confuse it more?
Oh,
big time.
absolutely.
Do you know what people are... Right, that you guys will know this straight away. So what's a bevy to you?
A bevy, a beer,
Drink.
a
Yeah.
fucking beer.
But-
Get on the beers, boys.
That's exactly what I know a bevy as, right? But people have started, well, I don't know if people have or if I've just seen it in popular culture, but people started referring to their other half as a bev, like a bevy. Their other half, you know, like their girl or their boy or their, you know.
Is that just a shortcut for Bever half?
No, I don't know why they stole the word and started using it in that way. It's very confusing when people take words that already mean something and then start using it completely out of context. And that's what America has basically done.
Well, since 1788 has been the confusion of the English language. Now, I'm not going to say this, but it's called. Yeah, I am going to fucking say it. I am going to say it. It's called English for a fucking reason because it comes from fucking. We speak the Queen's, and the other thing is, it's no coincidence that has been on the downfall of confusion since 1788. What else happened in 1788? The ratification of the U.S. Constitution. All right, let's move on.
Why do they also say when you select a computer language or on a device when it says English and then it has English traditional, it has the English flag, and then it says English simplified and it has the American flag?
Or English US. It's like, no, that's American.
Well, no, Jay. I mean, the other running gag is, you know, everywhere in the world you call it spring, and then there's summer, and then there's winter. But in the English, most of the rest of our civilized world, you have autumn.
Yep.
And that's when it's, you know, changing from summer to winter. America call it fall because leaves fall down.
And they call it a sidewalk because it's on the side of the road and you walk on it
Yeah.
instead of a path or a pavement. There's loads. Oh, this was the best one. You guys might not have heard this. So on the East Coast, in places like Boston, I was like, I said to my friend from Boston, I goes, you don't have roundabouts in America, do you? And he was like, no, we don't have roundabouts. And he goes, but we have these things we drive up to, and there's loads of different exits off it, and it's like a junction. And I was like, you know, it's a roundabout. And he went, no, we call those traffic circles.
Oh my god.
Traffic circles.
Basic words for basic bitches.
Well, I like the fact that in the UK we call the bumps on the road with sleeping policemen.
Yes,
You know,
that's
the idea
fucking
is that
great.
They're police to keep law and order, to keep you slow. In Australia, they're speed bumps, so you go faster.
But we also have silent cops. We have silent cops.
Silent
fucking
cops instead of sleeping policemen. Oh, that's
I've
great.
never met an Australian go slowly over a speed bump.
Yeah, they see it and they try to take off
They
over
see
it.
it and it's hold my beer.
It's because we got too far to fucking go to slow down for anything. It takes 2 days to get next door. Like, Jesus.
Just a quick shout out, Rolling Thunder's here, Junior's here. How you all doing? And
Speaking of Rolling Thunder, can I just say
Uh-oh.
it is about to storm its tits down in Sydney.
is it? Oh yeah, because you've just been having like horrible heat, haven't you? So after the horrible heat, you get the amazing storms. Shall we move on with the next story?
Indeed.
Let's do it.
So next story is well, this advert's just very rudely appeared over the. But basically, the children in the UK have been told they need to wear masks at school now. So let me just read over this because it says all pupils and teachers at secondary schools in England must wear face masks in a bid to slow the spread. Is this like when they're sitting next to each other as well? Under the updated government guidance issued on Wednesday, staff students in year 7 and above have been told to wear face mask coverings in communal spaces only outside of classrooms. So I thought that was the rule anyway. Face coverings had already been required for secondary schools. So only people that were in tier 2 and 3. So the area that I was in tier 1, so they wouldn't have had to wear them around here. But I wonder if they were forced to wear them anyway, because everybody was complaining about them their kids having to wear them. They've been given until this coming Monday to implement that, and I personally think they're gonna shut all the schools anyway in a couple of weeks when they realise the virus isn't slowing. So what has been the restrictions in Australia like? Have people still been going to school?
I'd just say our restrictions have been fucking amazing. We basically clamped down on everything. No, they have been. They clamped down on everything very, very quickly. Victoria's another state. I'm sure Luke's got to talk.
That's
to
what I'm saying. Show off,
Victoria.
you bastard.
But one of the things that Australia did very, very quickly, we put the economy into hibernation. We gave businesses support to close their doors and fund them. We gave people who lost their jobs money. Quite an extensive amount of money. Like we basically tripled the dole for the welfare payments. Sorry, I should say welfare payments, so you guys understand.
I know what the dole is. It's the same over here.
Yeah. We tripled those welfare payments. We gave small businesses support to keep them running, and we shut everything down very, very early. Schools were shut down. Businesses were shut down. It was incredible. You know, just the way that Australia managed everything. And you look at our coronavirus numbers, and I've got to say it, we shit from a great height upon everybody else, apart from
New Zealand,
possibly Taiwan. No, Taiwan and New Zealand. But for a country of our population, 25.5 million, to have 4,000 cases is just nuts. It's just nuts. Now that hasn't been at the cost of. That hasn't been at a free cost. The economy, obviously, we have a major deficit now, major budget deficit, because the economy is shut down, and the massive amounts of support that's been provided to people, and of course at the expense of our friends in Victoria who really couldn't behave themselves early on, and they paid the price for a few more months.
So,
bollocks.
You guys are opening back up now, and because of the length you've been locked down. The fact that you've been locked down and now what did you say? 4,000 cases total or 4,000 cases a day?
Total.
In the whole of Australia?
Put it this way, okay, the whole of Australia in March, about 22nd of March, turned around and said, right, that's it, everyone shut your doors.
Yeah, but you've only got 4,000 cases total for the whole. Back
then they had 100.
And they shut everything down there.
Shut the doors.
That's great. Yeah. You see how many we're getting a day right now?
Well, they shut all the schools over here, went to remote learning. Then in June, 22nd, it was about the 12th of June, they reopened most of the country because the cases, well, in fact, the whole country reopened because cases were really down. Then Victoria. Victoria decided to put private security companies in charge of hotel quarantine because we had a rule where overseas visitors or when they arrived had to go into quarantine for 14 days. They decided to put private security companies in charge of managing that, and some of the guards, they found the guests pretty attractive. Let's put it that way. Next thing you know, Victoria was recording 700 cases a day. I'm not going to say that's how that got out there, but it got out there. So Victoria went back into hardcore lockdown. We had an 8 p.m. curfew. we couldn't leave, couldn't travel more than 5 kilometers, or 3 miles from our house, unless we had a permit for work reasons. You could only go to food shops. All other retail was shut. All other industry had to cut to 25% staff, only essential staff to keep businesses running if you were servicing outside of Victoria. And our borders were shut to the entire country. Then Melbourne started getting worse, so they put a ring around Melbourne and said, okay, Metro Melbourne, you've got to stick to this. The rest of the regional state or county for your guys back there, they got eased restrictions. And that was in June. As of today, we still haven't got everything open, and we're not looking at having it all open until probably end of November.
So our current stats, James, population 25.5 million, right? We've had 27,000 cases, 907 deaths. There are 106 active cases, only 106 active cases at the moment, and 11 of those were diagnosed in the last 24 hours. And we're testing around 45,000 people a day.
So you've got 11 new cases a day, and we've got 25,000 plus.
Correct. 11 to 25,000, and we only have 106 active
Jay,
cases.
On the what was the figure I saw? I think on the 11th of July, Melbourne in Victoria had 702 cases. On the same day, the UK had 780 cases. On the 11th or 12th of July, it was around there.
So we were about the same numbers?
We were pretty much the same numbers for the entire UK versus one city in Australia back in July. You fast forward, 4.5 months, we're down to our 6th day of 0, and you're just off the charts.
So the difference is we stayed open and carried on progressing back towards a normal reopening because of the economy. Meanwhile,
Correct.
you went, we need to lock down and make sure we've eradicated this thing fully, and then we'll rebuild. But because we're just going to keep resetting, aren't we, if we're trying to keep reopen?
That's right.
The idea is sound, but I mean, look, I'm slightly different to Waffle Zero. I do think that it was carried on a little bit too far in Victoria, and I come from the company I work for. We had to lay off about 300 staff. We've actually shut down completely 2 businesses and stripped out the facilities totally, purely because we couldn't keep the cash flow for staying open, because while the government helped with some things, we were paying $250,000 a month in electricity.
Because everybody was working from home.
For places that weren't even open. This is network charges across multiple sites. Just for being connected to the national grid, it totaled $250,000 Australian dollars per month.
I mean, one of the examples, like my employment. So, Jay, I think I've told you I used to travel 20 weeks a year to Canberra, our capital. I worked in politics. Now, as of April, as basically the deputy chief of staff to my boss, who's quite senior in the party that I worked in, I was prevented from going. My boss, my member of parliament, could not have any staff while she was in parliament.
Because of Corona?
Because of Corona. And former prime ministers, former ministers, lobbyists, all of those people were locked out of parliament.
That's crazy. So you basically completely shut that shit down.
We shut everything down.
The thing is, right, you know what you've just said, Luke, about you think it goes on for a little bit too long? The problem is, if it doesn't go on for a bit too long, you're going to have a faster
100%.
regrowth. Now that you've got it under control, you can have a faster bounce back. We've seen that here. When we got it under control, the economy recovered to 75% of what it was pre-COVID, but it was too quickly. That was the problem. So you'll have that same bounce back of the recovery of the economy.
The problem is, Jay, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Correct. You can't do right for wrong, can you?
You'll never. I'll never know. We'll never know in Victoria whether or not we needed to go through 3 months of not being able to go out more than 5Ks, not being able to go out. We were allowed 1 hour of exercise in a park.
You only find out if it goes wrong, don't you? So now if it goes wrong, again, everybody will go, we come out too early. But if everything's fine, they'll go, we come out too late. Look, we've recovered fine. And
100%.
So you'll only ever find out if it was wrong, if it goes wrong.
Not to get into politics again, but I would not be a politician for quids right now.
Do you miss it, Paul?
You are just screwed.
I miss the action. absolutely miss the action. Like I've said to a few people close to me, I actually, when, like, some of those days, right, when I'd have to travel for work. So 20 weeks a year I was away between Sunday and Thursday. Those days that I was away from home, I would be in the office at 5 o'clock in the morning at Parliament, and I wouldn't be leaving till 9 or 10 at night. But those days were the fastest days I've ever had at work, and you really don't realize it. You never fucking realize it. But back to the UK schools with face masks, 100%. I actually did a face mask stream. I did a stream right when Australia was taking off, kind of June. I think it must have been June or July, when people were like, yeah, I'm not wearing a face mask, fucking it stops me from breathing, it gives me hypoxia. It's like, oh, fuck it, I'm actually going to make an example and do a 2-hour stream.
I've never seen someone storm off the chat so quickly. He was at the desk and he goes, you know what, fuck this, got up out of his chair, he's just left spinning, he comes back with the mask and says, right, this stays on.
How long did you stream for with it on?
A couple of hours, probably.
And did you find it okay?
It's fine.
See,
absolutely fine.
When I went to work the other day, one thing I have noticed, when I went back to work the other day for all of 5 hours before I was furloughed again, you can't really hear people. So obviously you have to maintain your 2-meter distance, and you also have got a mask now. So normally we'd walk up to each other and have a conversation, but now we're 2 meters away and we're trying to talk. It's very hard to hear people and understand. And again, I don't mind asking people to repeat themselves because I'd rather protect my health. But there's lots of dynamics that have changed within the workplace just because of this, you know. And I was like, say, I was there for 5 hours, and it was like going to a new workplace. The way things have changed, you know. Have you guys had to return to office work or anything like that since the COVID started, or have you both been at home?
Yeah, everything's pretty much everything is open in every state except Victoria.
So before I lost my job, Jay, when things were starting to recover, it was 1 day a week. So we had an office of about 14 people. It was 1 day a week, 2 people maximum in the office at any time. So I would go in.
Oh dear, we lost Waffles. Uh-oh. Luke, can you hear me? Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Did Discord die? Uh-oh. Let me reset Discord, guys. Hold on a second. I think my Discord went bump. Yeah, Discord went bump. Uh-oh. You can hear me? Uh-oh. Okay, give me a second. I couldn't hear you guys. Onyx Rise, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Pride. I'm just trying to reconnect to Mr. Drunkle and Mr. Waffles here. Give me a second, guys.
Hello, James.
Ah, there we go. I'm back. Something just died with Discord. RIP. Sorry, carry on as you were saying.
Yeah, so we were in the office once a week, only with another person in the office, and that was it. That was pretty much how we rolled. And as far as I know, that's pretty much how things are continuing. And the interesting thing is, I think coming out of Corona, whenever we manage to get there on a global level, people, especially in Australia, people are going to realize that, oh, you don't need to be in the office 5 days a week to be trusted to do your work.
Correct.
Like you can actually work from home and be productive. And I think it's actually shown how adaptive and dynamic a workforce can be when, you know, simply, oh, you can't come into the office. Okay, well, how do we run this? Well, things adapted really, really quickly. I can say that from experience in Australia. And who knows, maybe we'll have a much better mobility in terms of workforce, much more flexibility in the workforce for the future, and maybe that's the one positive we can take out of this whole deal.
I think what they should personally do is, with most businesses where you don't have to be in there every day and you can work from home, you could do 2 days in the office, 2 days at home, do longer hours, 4 days a week, and then have 3 days for recovery, because that really helps people mentally with their mental health, being able to relax for 3 days instead of 2 or 1 for some people.
And you end up more productive in the end anyway.
Correct. It's been proven. They've done studies. 4-day working week is more productive. Your workers are happier. Yep. So why not? Why? Yep. In a lot of places in the world, I understand that they actually are already doing that. They're already doing 4-day working weeks, because one thing, like you say, when your workers are happy, they're more productive. So make them happy. The less they're in work, the more happy they are. So when they're actually in work, they'll do better work, better quality, and more productive, like you say. So So we're going to move on to the next story here if you guys are ready. Uh-oh, did I lose him again?
No,
No,
we're here.
Okay,
You're ready.
good. Okay, so we're
Just being
gonna.
polite.
So as we've
I'm just
seen,
drinking.
you just drink. What are you drinking? You on an alcoholic bev?
I am too.
I'm currently drinking Loch Lomond
Ah, whiskey, right?
single malt, 18 years, 100% whiskey.
And I've got the Glenlivet Nadura.
Guys, I wish it was not. When we started this podcast today, it was 11 a.m. So I could have got a drink, but I've got stuff to do later. I've got to drive, so I'm just on
11
water.
a.m.'s fine, man.
Yeah, it is. It
11
really
a.m. 's
is.
fine.
It's 12 o'clock in Europe now. So, well, it's nearly 12 o'clock here. So, but regardless, I'm on water today. So, as you've seen, there's been a lot of terrorist attacks over the last couple of weeks in Europe. Started off with the stuff in France, didn't it? What was it? The teacher? Was it the teacher getting decapitated? That was the first one, right? And then you had the one at the Nice church, right? That was the next one. Was that the next one? And the Charlie and attacking randomers outside the old Charlie Hebdo offices because they thought that Charlie Hebdo was still there.
Again, of course.
And so we've actually had a raised terror threat here in the UK, and it was raised to what are we at now? We're at high. We're at severe, right? Yeah, we're at severe because basically Austria had that one as well, didn't they? The last night before the lockdown, all the revelers were out having drinks, and they thought, what we're going to do is we'll hit them while they're all out. So they went out and shot a load of people, and it was a group of them. I'm led to believe. I'm actually going to pull that story up and see what we can find out here. Austria.
I
Go
just
on.
love the fact that around the world, the counter-terrorism intelligence agencies are all pretty secretive, but in the UK, you publish in the Mirror a photo of their headquarters. It's
Yeah.
like, here we are, guys.
Yeah. Are you on about like MI5 and stuff like that?
Yeah, MI5 is like...
It's so
There's no
protected though, isn't
secret.
it? They're so
There's no
protected.
secret,
I
though.
mean, Britain's got much the same setup as Australia. So you've got MI5 who are domestic, MI6 who are international.
Yeah.
Same with Australia. Australia has ASIO and ACES. Now, it's funny. Not many Australians actually know about ACES. So, for your American viewers, the best way I can describe it is ASIO is our FBI and ACES is the CIA for our country. ACES is highly secretive. In fact, most people don't know where ACES offices are. I know where they're located in Canberra. You will never, ever meet somebody that identifies as an ACES officer. The only time they can disclose it is to their one direct family member, so their husband or wife, and they're mainly international intelligence gathering. So you've got MI5, which is FBI and ASIO here, and then MI6, which is CIA and ACES for Australia.
That's very interesting because
And I'd like to say goodbye to Waffles now before they break down his door and take him.
yeah,
Yes.
you're speaking about secrets you shouldn't speak about. What was I going to say? The MI6 is the same here. Like they can't identify, can they? Like not even their family are allowed to know that they're MI6 agents. I always joke because my uncle, who's like he's 50 now, and like his whole life, I've always joked because I mean I've always been into sport. I've always been very quick. I've always been very agile. And I always think of myself like I'm a good athlete, right? But it doesn't matter like how old I've been. Like throughout my life, my uncle has always been sharper, smarter, faster. And it doesn't matter now. He'd probably still beat me now, and I'm still fit and can still run really fucking fast. He's probably still beat me at 50. He's just... It's weird, and we don't know anything. Like he's always joked, like, well, he hasn't joked. He's always said like he's worked for IT firms and all this, but it's always quite mysterious. Like he never talks about his work. Whenever he has to do work at home, he always like disappears somewhere. It's always like very, very mysterious. And I've always thought maybe he is, and he disappears across the world.
To be honest, he's probably a cam boy.
What's that?
Your uncle's probably just a cam boy.
What's a can boy?
He strips on camera.
He rents himself out on camera, and then he gets flown to meet people like Jeffrey Epstein.
He's a red boy.
Random Bahama Islands, and like seriously, mate. There's often a good explanation for it, but
Good
it's
luck
interesting.
to win.
it's
At that age.
It's interesting you say that. Like back to the security stuff. So ACES ASIS for us, the Australian Secret Intelligence Service, they wouldn't even advertise, right? They wouldn't do anything. You would basically get poached out of university as a white Australian male and be sent into this very, very secretive thing. They don't do that anymore. They actually advertise vacancies now. So they advertise in the newspaper. Obviously, the process is very hush-hush, how that all goes, but you can actually jump on their website. You can apply on the website. You can do all that sort of stuff. Interestingly, though, ASIS did have a massive incident back in when they did a training thing, right? So secret intelligence officers doing a pretend basically intelligence interrogation going wrong, and they hired a few rooms at the Hilton Hotel. This is a great story in Sydney, and they armed themselves and did this whole storming of 2 rooms at the Hilton Hotel without, telling the hotel. Obviously, they couldn't tell the hotel that they're secret intelligence service officers. Anyway, people saw them, called the police. The police come down to the hotel, and suddenly there are 4 guys in suits armed with weapons. They get arrested. They get taken to the police station. They can't say who they are. And then there's this big standoff. And anyway, eventually it got up to the upper echelons of government, and, some negotiations had to take place, and then they were released. And the officers that released them were like, why do we have to release these guys? Like, they're clearly armed. And then what they did as a result of that, they banned secret intelligence service officers from being armed until about 10 years ago, when 2 ASIS officers were basically bashed to within an inch of their life in Cairo on an operation, and now they're allowed to be armed again. It's a complete shit show. ASIS, I love you dearly, ASIS, for all the work that you do in protecting our country from the threat of, external.
Another letter from our lawyer.
Yes, yeah. My lawyer's just arrived. I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, ASIS has stood at the door.
British. Yeah, and we claim our British nationality and protection of the Queen.
I'd like to reinstate my confidence in all the activities that ASIS undertake, and that at no time have I ever questioned its operations or its effectiveness in its aims and objectives in protecting the Australian public.
Love how you've read that straight from the sheet. It was so natural.
So natural.
Hardly tell him his gun pointed to his head.
So, moving back to the terrorist story here. So, the Vienna attack, Austria admits failing to act on the Slovak warning of the gunman. Austria's interior minister admitted that a warning from Slovakia last summer about a gunman who went on the rampage in the centre of Vienna was not followed up. 4 people were fatally shot and 23 others wounded on Monday night. Let me just check this is the right article, because it said, yeah, okay. Police in Slovakia...
Can I just say...
Go on.
But honestly, would you trust the Slovakian intelligence service?
I don't know. Would you? Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. So they revealed they had tipped off the Austrian authorities in July. Reports suggest a trip to buy bullets failed as the gunman had no license. So he actually went there to buy... He actually went to Slovakia to buy the bullets. It's also emerged that he was released early from jail sentence last December for trying to join the jihadists in Syria. Whoa. Okay, interesting. According to German media, the 20-year-old who was shot dead by police 9 minutes after the attack travelled to neighbouring Slovakia to buy ammunition for the AK-47. He returned empty-handed. So where did he get them? The police said they informed their Australian colleagues immediately and they would not comment further. And they were asked about the revelations on Wednesday. The Interior Minister said the information had been investigated by their BVD, the intelligence agency, but no further action had been taken. Wow. So he wasn't on their watch list then. Something obviously went wrong in communication, he told reporters, and that he wanted an independent inquiry. So the victims were a 24-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 39-year-old, a 44-year-old. God damn. R.I.P. That's absolutely horrible. Just having a look at the location here. Franz Josef's car, is that a place? Or is that the... Here we go. Attacker shot dead by police. Shooting starts near the synagogue. So did he shoot... Synagogue is for Jewish people, right?
Right, yeah.
So did he shoot up? Were they all Jewish people? Or were they just...
If you scroll back up, it told you about the victims, didn't it?
Yeah, it would have said. Worked as a waitress. Painter. Yeah, it doesn't say. Doesn't say if they
didn't actually shoot up in the synagogue. It was just near
the synagogue. Yeah, I wonder if he went with the intention to kill Jewish people, because the ISIS hate everybody, don't they? But I think one of their biggest hatred is Jews, isn't it?
Americans first.
Oh yeah, and the French now. Did you see that in Pakistan in the last week? They were all burning pictures of Macron. But he's replaced Trump as the most hated man in the East at the moment, by the looks of it.
Yeah, and this is what you see. The countries that have defeated England in battles are now hated around the world. America and France.
Defeated Britain in battles, did you say?
Yeah,
How
back
far?
in the old days.
Oh, way back.
Go right back. Way back, America defeated Britain and became their own country, and now they're hated. France defeated England and claimed back most of France that we had. Should be ours. Hashtag UK France.
Hold on, which part of France were ours? The Northern Territories?
Brittany.
Where?
Brittany
Yeah.
was ours. It's the title of the full title of the monarch includes portions of France. When
Was it like Normandy and places like that?
too far into the whiskey to remember my history. I've been in Australia too long. Who was it came over and took up the British crown but retained parts of France? That's why the royal crest has the fleur-de-lis in it.
Yeah, it was the, oh god, I know his name. Yeah, French
Was it James? Was it?
French king who took over England. Yeah, I know who you're on about. I've read about this. Louis the Eighth. He was the king of France. He also claimed the kingdom of England. There you go.
Part of the title of the rule of England was like king or queen of England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, blah de blah de blah de blah. Like it was long. It included parts of France.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, everyone that ceded territory back from us has gone on to become hated.
So
Don't leave the Commonwealth.
Is Australia? Oh, what? Don't leave the Commonwealth. Space Guy, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hello, Pip. You coming up? Come on in, quickly. Come on. What are you doing? All right.
What sort of dog's Pip?
She's a cocker spaniel. I'll try and get her up right now so you can see her if you've got the stream open. Come on, and say hi. Come on. Here she is. Oh. Here she is, the little puppy.
Oh, beautiful.
She loves people,
Hello,
don't
Pip.
you? And say hello. Say hello to the peoples on the stream. You're just pressing it here against my mouth right now. There we go. Okay, so I think we lost Waffles for the minute. I think he's deafened up.
Just had to duck off for a second. Yeah,
Okay.
he's got. So Waffles lost his air conditioner
Oh gosh.
3 days ago, and Sydney's going through a bit of a
Heat
wave, but it's pretty hot. Not summer hot, but just uncomfortable when you don't have air conditioning. So
Has he gone to get tablets and
the
water
other night
again?
Probably, yeah. What are you eating there?
This is for the dog. Yeah,
I-
Quentin redeemed treats for Pip, so he's just gonna sniffle them out of my hands. Yeah, it's not good, is it? Not good in that heat, is it at all? We've all been in that heat before, where it's not great. Did you just drop one?
It's
Okay.
one of the things I had to learn with coming over here. The heat is fine when it's the dry heat. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
I spent a year living and working in Bangkok in Thailand, and the sort of heat there, the humidity, it just
unbearable.
drains everything out of you.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not good, is
a
it?
nice hot summer's day. No. And people laugh at me when they say, when they see, oh, the UK having a heat wave, oh, it's 30 degrees, boo. And I try to point out to them that houses back home, like you'd know, you got double brick, you got central heating, you got double glazing, you've got insulation through everything.
Yeah.
It's all built to cope with the winter.
Correct.
So when the temperature gets over 30, it's really stifling. In the
Unbearable.
houses.
It tends to be upstairs. Is just like hell here. They
Oh,
aren't
it's
designed
just-
for heat.
Yeah.
They really
Whereas in
aren't.
Australia, a lot of the houses here, especially in the hotter parts, are weatherboard, so just boarded around the frame. They're raised on stumps, so there's airflow under the house. They've got shutters, they've got air conditioning. They're made to cope with the heat. So what you find here is they complain when it gets below 10 degrees. Oh, it's too cold,
Yes.
because they don't have the insulation, they don't have the heating.
I
And
know.
then they turn around to me and say, "Oh, you should be used to it. You're a POM."
Yeah.
It's like,
But you've got acclimatized, haven't you?
Well, no, it's not that. I don't have a house with double brick. I don't have a house with central heating. I don't have a house with double glazing.
Yeah.
And the clothes aren't, down insulation and all that stuff.
Yeah, see, we used to own a house in the south of France, my parents did, so we used to spend a lot of time in the south of France, but we'd be there in the summer, and it was like you say, high 30s, 40 degrees C in the days, and then as soon as, like, the sun had started to dip, and it started to go a little bit cooler, like, we was friends with a lot of, where our house was, it was in a village, there was a lot of old people, and, as soon as that sun would start to set, they'd be out in their cardies, like, with thick trousers on, jeans, and wrapping up warm with a bottle of wine and some cheese and biscuits at the end of the road. And we'd go down there like in our shorts, brown as anything, because we'd been sunbathing all day in the heat. But they were, like you say, they're used to the heat. They're not necessarily set for the cold, especially in the south near Spain. It gets very, very hot down there. So
the retirement belt.
Exactly. It really is. It was about, I think it was about 2 hours away from Barcelona, give or take. So
we used to holiday in when I was younger. It was down to Malaga.
Nice.
And when I got a little bit older, before I moved to Australia, was Mallorca.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Which Mallorca? Which part? There's two, isn't there? You've got Mallorca and there's Menorca. There's Mallorca.
It's been that long. I'm old now, so.
Was it? Let's have a look. Hold on.
I honestly could not remember.
We're
talking late 80s.
Late 80s. So maybe, well, you got Palma, haven't you? You've got, where are the big places?
Palma. I think we flew into Palma.
You've got Alcudia. That's where we went, Alcudia. There's lots of little, like Cala d'Or. That's quite a popular resort. Cala de Mallorca. You might have just gone there. You might have gone out to the coast.
No, we flew into Palma, definitely.
I wonder where you. Yeah, that's the main airport, isn't it? It's only a small island.
Malagoof.
Magaluf.
Yeah.
Where is it?
A bottle of whiskey, mate.
Yeah, Magaluf. That's a party destination. Proper
Magaluf.
Yeah, Magaluf. Yeah.
Isn't that where all the chavs go?
Now, yeah. It used to be a proper nice family holiday destination, I think, back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, it wasn't quite as bad as it is now. But then don't forget, we're talking about my generation growing up there that went over as a family, got older, decided, hey, I remember that place, went back over there and turned it into that. So all the ones that used to go there as kids
went back to party.
Into the lads.
Yeah. Well, are you all right, Paul? By the way, we've seen you disappear. Did you have to go get some meds or something for the heat?
No, the dog decided to commence an impromptu bite training without any bite sleeve preparation or anything on Mum.
Oh gosh.
On, the missus. So yes.
Was she playing though?
When I distracted Elba, can I just say that my arm hurts a fair bit right now?
Oh, she bit you?
No, well, play biting.
Yeah.
Play biting, but like very, very rough, aggressive play biting.
So you just had to bring her back in line.
Yes.
What engages that behaviour from her? Just that she wants to play and that she's quite big and rough.
Boredom. So today it's been raining. It's been raining its tits off. She hasn't really been outside much. And so she hasn't been out to expend some energy and get her biting and chasing. Her daily biting and chasing done. So she was a bit pissed off.
Do you ever get have you got any of those puzzles? I find those are great for Pip when she's really bored. The treat puzzles where it's underneath traps and they have to work out how to lift the trap up to release the treat.
Okay, you know what Elba would do?
Just tip it upside down.
Drag the trap outside down, smash it to pieces against a wall, and then just expect the treat fall out of them. Like she destroys shit. Absolutely destroys shit.
Pip's quite good, being they're naturally like sniffer dogs, aren't they, spaniels? So she gets her nose under the flap, flips the flap up, and grabs the treat, and then the flap goes back down. She's really good with it, actually.
That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good.
But I suppose if you've got a big dog that's made to be big and boisterous, they're going to be big and boisterous. And do you know what she'd probably do is just flip the table upside down so the treats all are on the floor. That's probably what Elba would do.
Sure.
Yeah,
100% sure.
My dog ripped the door off the pantry once.
He
wasn't happy.
Yeah.
He got his paw, pried it open enough to get a paw around it, swung it open, and then leant against it till it fell off, until it snapped the hinges.
Yeah.
looked over all pleased with himself, picked up his bag of treats and wandered off outside.
Little bastards, aren't they, when they want to
No,
be?
but you can't. It was like, that was so clever what he did. How can I get angry with that?
Yeah, you were standing there slow clapping him as he's walking off with his
I'm
treats.
like, I've got to yell at you, but
I can't.
that was clever.
Yeah, I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
You saw a problem, you solved it.
You didn't ask questions, you just resolved the issue. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, you didn't come get me. You just said, "Nah, I want a treat."
You
Boom.
ate the whole
on.
wheel of cheese? Baxter.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're in trouble. So,
My dog loved cheese.
yeah, dogs do love it.
What are we talking about next?
So, we mentioned this just before we got on stream because I thought this would be quite a interesting discussion to have. But they're saying that researchers have found that between 30 and 50% of the big game hunters in the Americas, more than 10,000 years ago, may have actually been women in pink tunics and pink tracky trousers? Interesting choice of clothes.
I think she's got a Fitbit on the wrist there as well.
Yep, Fitbit. What is this? I mean, that looks a little bit suspect.
Oh, she's got a pouch for her iPhone as well.
Yeah, look
Well,
at
in
this.
fairness, big game in the Americas wasn't exactly big.
What
No, that's true.
an illustration of a female hunter who may have appeared in Peru around 9,000 years ago. That's intriguing.
You know what? This research doesn't surprise me. And you know, they do a lot of research these days about conditioning.
Sorry, can I just point
in-
out the little line there? Why you can trust Sky News underneath a picture of someone in Louis Vuitton pink hunting wear.
Why is she wearing Louis Vuitton? Go on, Paul. What was you saying?
What they do, they often observe current social behaviors. This is a big thing. Funnily enough, they did this with World of Warcraft a few years ago. They released a virus, right? And that is still used today. The behavior of the players that were on those servers when that virus was released into researching how people behave during viral events, and that has actually gone on to some of the theory behind the lockdown procedures of coronavirus. Really, really interesting. So it's behavioral studies around people. Now, what I feel this research has come from is going to a couple of the bars in Sydney that I know, where 30 to 50% of those females that are in those bars, I have no doubt they would be effective hunters. I mean, we're talking about big women, rough women. Now, I'm not sure if BDSM clubs are where these people have frequented and, undertaken this behavioral research in order to guide their conclusions here. But I would not be surprised, to be honest.
Some of them are just monsters, aren't they? Like, you see some of them and they're like not the natural fit of what you'd imagine a woman to be like. They're more built like with masculine features, the big shoulders, the broad back, you know.
James, are you still imagining what women look like?
Yeah, imagine. What do they look like? Can you explain one to me?
Never been like a bag of sand. Like a bag of sand.
Having been
What do
to a
your breasts
nightclub,
feel like?
having been to a nightclub in Scotland, I can believe that.
Come on, I'm quite right, aren't I? People
You
say
are,
that
you
about English women, you know. Like, people say,
Oh.
like, English women age like fruit. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, they shrivel up
Yeah, whereas they say English
and get
men...
bitter.
Yeah, they say English men are like wine, though, don't they, Luke? Like a
Oh
fine
yes,
wine.
we age well.
So-
And you'll actually find, if you ever creep out of the basement and travel the world, the
Wait, that's
English
a thing?
accent, as you get the English accent and age go very well with overseas females.
We was discussing this with overseas accents, weren't we, Paul, earlier, about people going mad for like the Aussie accent, the Americans going mad for the English accent, and the Canadian. When I was in Canada, like, they were just getting me to say all kinds of things. They found it really interesting. Like,
Yeah, look, I think, yeah, people are always going to find that about accents, though.
they're interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it
Like,
just
you
because it's
drop in
something different?
if I drop in I remember when I lived in Milwaukee, I walked into a 7-Eleven late at night, and I was just talking to the guy behind the counter. You know, he's a black guy. You know, we're having a great chat. He's like, "Where are you from, man?" I'm like, "Oh, Australia." And then he just yelled out to the back room for his partner that was working with him that night. And she comes out and she's like, well, what's going on? And he was like, oh, this dude's from Australia. And she's like, oh my God, talk. And I just said, hi, how you going? And she
Lost her shit.
Laughed, like lost her shit.
Yeah.
Lost her absolute shit. She's like, oh my God, that is the sexiest accent I've ever heard. I'm like, okay, right.
Calm down.
Cool.
Put your trousers back on.
Calm down.
It's like that. Have you ever seen the video on YouTube of the white American kid going into random Chinese restaurant and speaking like complete fluent Chinese?
Oh, I have seen him, and he shocks the shit out of the workers.
They like what they literally take a visible step back and their head cocks to the side and they're like, what? Why is he speaking fluent Chinese with the accent and everything?
And he goes to supermarkets and sees like Chinese people walking around and he's like, oh, how's your day going in full fluent Chinese? Yes, I've seen that guy. Yep, he's good.
Proper bamboozles them because they're like, oh, and can you speak this regional dialect? And he'll go, oh, I'll speak a little bit of the regional dialect, like our accents. And they're like, oh my God, you speak it better than me. And I'm, my parents were from there. It's like, how have you learned this? And he's
but the thing you got to question yourself is, and it was a thing going around. The way that some idiots talk to people who are from another country, where we talk really slowly, and so, how do we know that we don't sound to them like that when we speak in their language?
Oh, most of us do.
They all say, "Oh, you're great, you're fluent, you're wonderful, you're amazing," but inside they're pissing themselves.
Yeah, inside, meanwhile, you're talking like this. How you doing? Wow, look at him. He's really good at English.
It's like how everyone south of probably. Oh man, it's been that long. Everyone south of Manchester sort of laughs at everyone north of Manchester the way they talk.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody south of Birmingham thinks of that. Just anybody in Birmingham.
Yeah.
But yeah,
everyone outside of London.
Yeah, no, you're right. They're kind of a different nation, aren't they, down there? It's mainly I think London's mainly full of non-English people anyway, I think. James PR, how you doing? But the accent thing is that guy, that one we were just talking about, I'm sure he can speak over 10 languages fluently or something like that. So I'm pretty sure.
Amazing,
What do they call it? They've got a name, haven't they? Like a multilingualist.
How hard they are. Yeah, it's arseholes, I believe, is the word. Because
I don't know how they do it.
Getting English right.
I don't know how they do it. Like you say, learning one language is hard enough, but to learn the intricacies and like the humour and all the little conjoining words in sentences, it must be impossible. Like, how do they do it? Like, I mean, I've tried to learn singular languages, like one at a time. So trying to learn multiple and retain all that info, because there's a lot of similarities, isn't there, between languages that could get crossed over and confused and kill a conversation. Exactly. Completely different. But in all honesty, like you say, you do go up and down a country and you hear these different... Like, how many different words are there for a cob or a roll in England, Luke?
Well, how many counties are there?
Exactly. There's literally a different word everywhere, isn't there? So, what we'll do is now, just very quickly, if you boys are up for it, we'll go over some of the more light-hearted stories.
And finds
cool.
guard
So,
pockets. Who put that there?
Husband has a fright of his life after finding wife's X-rated Audi purchase. So,
it's from Australia.
The woman took to Facebook after her husband found a rude package in the recycling bin, but after he confronted her about it, he realised it wasn't what it seemed. So, her husband was left horrified after he found a package. After
Sorry, James, can you just go back and read that subtext? Because that is clickbait.
Her husband was put in recycling in the bin when he found the package. That bit?
No, up again.
Yeah.
Above the picture.
Of the picture, what bit?
A woman took to Facebook. This is clickbait 101.
Yeah.
The woman took to Facebook after her husband found a rude-looking package in the recycling bin, but after you confronted her about it, he realised it wasn't what he said. that is perfect clickbait. It's like this woman took this photo on a holiday, but when she looked at it later, it shocked her.
Yes, exactly. So this is
what she didn't see.
So this is the package, okay? So I mean, that looks like. Is it like one of those... Is it going to be a pair of scissors with the tiny little handles on the bottom to get into tight angles?
It looks like, a pair of shearing scissors or something, like fabric scissors.
Tell hubby his second choice, one person wrote. Savage. Another wrote, great shaver, yeah. Uh-oh. Wait, what? Is it a shaver? It's an electric shaver. Ah. Oh, hold on. Did you see this? I don't know if you guys seen this. So on the deer at all the like Christmas stores now at the garden centers, they've got a shaft and balls on.
Oh wow! So that okay.
Yeah, so if you actually turn the animal upside down, you'll see what is circled on that picture. We actually went to a garden centre a few weeks ago, and my wife went, I wonder if this story is true, and she turned it upside down, and lo and behold, it was. Kind of...
Was it... Did it have gentleman berries or a lady garden?
It had the gentleman berries.
Meanwhile, Ken is sitting in his box going, bastards.
Yeah. In the box with his box.
Yeah.
So we'll move on straight away to the next story here. So because you guys have got some off the back of this, what you mentioned when we seen this, but ASOS have been mocked for selling studded Crocs at Customer Deciders 2020 in a shoe. Could you imagine wearing these, boys, down to the beach?
You know what I call those shoes right there?
Oh, go on.
It's punk croc.
For 2020.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Punk croc. Punk croc.
Still waiting for the ba-dum-bum.
That's punk rock.
That's awful. Go on. What did you mention about Crocs earlier when I pulled up this story? Can you remember?
I was saying that Aldi, segue from your last article there.
Oh, yeah.
Aldi was doing the crossover Croc Ugg boot.
Aldi are?
Fur-lined Crocs.
Here we go.
Fur-lined Crocs.
Because Waffles and I follow Aldi quite a lot. As in one of the other games we play, our clan is named Aldi, after the wonderful chain, and we often talk about the specials of the week. So yeah, have a look for.
There you go.
Croc Aldi. Yep, there you go. That's the ones.
Christ.
If you can't decide if you want Uggs or Crocs, get Crocs.
That's when you want to be both warm and definitely not fashionable.
Because that's an actual life choice, isn't it? People actually choose that. Can I just say this is an Australian website, WSFM. Is that a big radio station?
Oh, WSFM in Sydney, hell yeah.
Jonesy and Amanda. This is the website I'm on right now to find this. These are... Look at this GIF. Why don't we have both? Why would you, though? Why would you? Why would you choose?
You have neither.
Yeah, exactly. It's just an horrific life. Do you think that people will be wearing those in Australia?
I have no doubt there are a lot of people that would wear those.
I would. You know what, Luke? They're the type, and I'm going to put it in your words, in kind of your environment, being from Victoria. That's what you'd see out at Bendigo. In New South Wales, that's what we'd see out in Broken Hill. That is country town, classic Australia. You know, just want to be absolutely no form, but 110% function. All function over form.
Do you think the layer where the holes are in the Crocs is waterproof onto the fabric?
Oh, now that's a good question.
You'd hope so.
Imagine a minute the rain comes and your feet are just sodden inside. I suppose they are when you wear normal Crocs, right? Because of the holes.
But that's the idea.
How much is...
You're wearing them at the beach and stuff. I mean, I remember as a kid back in the UK, we're talking early 80s, getting the jelly sandals.
Oh, jelly sandals were a thing, weren't they, for kids? Yeah.
Because a lot of Australians don't understand beaches in the UK. Beaches in the UK, you have sand, you have rocks, you have water.
Mm-hmm. There you go, guys.
Yeah,
the old school jelly sandals.
In Australia, it's just beautiful, beautiful sand all the way down. It's amazing, right? So jelly sandals. So I can understand how you'd progress from that to Crocs at the beach.
Willie, you seeing this?
See it.
Seeing these? Mate, they're classic.
Mate, back in the 80s.
Yeah, they were everywhere. They were fucking
had them
everywhere.
Because that's the thing, Waffles, as a kid at the beach, I grew up in Cornwall, beautiful, beautiful weather, lovely beaches. The sand was amazing, but to get from the sand to the water, you had to cross that god-awful 500-degree rock path.
Oh, yeah, and you have to get there.
And you burn your feet. So you pop on the jellies, off you go, down I can see the progression from jellies to Crocs.
Let's have a look here. So Crocs is
I don't know.
actually worth. They had an operating income of 16.54 million in 2017. What a genius decision that was by whoever made them. That's incredible.
That's pretty, to be honest, like 16.4 million. And now,
That's not a lot.
I'm not shutting down the success of creating the ugliest fucking footwear ever known to man and making it into a market and making a fucking ugly baby out of it and making it a success. But 16 million ain't a lot for a brand that is so well known that has cornered one single word. It's not that big. Like, it's not that big. Anyway.
Lucas, I said that completely wrong. I said Nulas Foka. I should have said Lucas Nola 23. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Pride. It's kind of crazy to think, like you say, how can something be so ugly yet be worth so much money? Like, seriously, it's got to be all.
Jake,
Hang on.
You're from Birmingham, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you go down to your watering hole, the canal,
Mm-hmm.
and paddle your little feet in there, wouldn't you like to have a pair of Crocs on there to stop them getting cut up by the shopping carts and cars that have been dumped into it?
Can't say I've ever dangled my feet in a canal, brother. I actually haven't. I don't think I've ever even been on a canal boat. Can't remember being on one.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
I grew up on the what was it? The canal through Oxford. I grew up in Oxfordshire.
Mm-hmm.
So as I get towards the bottom of this bottle, you see, one will start to talk properly, you see. The Oxenbergs Canal system. And so I spent a lot of time on the boats out there.
Pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Can I just say, James, you asked the question, how can something be so ugly yet worth so much? I've got 2 words.
Kim Kardashian?
No, Billy Piper.
Oh.
Oh, don't start on Billy. She's my... Oh.
Controversial. Controversial. Do you think she's...
Billy Piper.
Do you think she's hot, Luke?
I would not knock her back.
What about you, Mr. Waffles?
Tastes like a hatful of smashed crabs.
So no, then.
But you would...
Last time I saw lips those big, I was on a fucking fishing trip. And the last time I saw a face like that, I was at the races.
After it had crashed.
Yeah. I mean, what the fucking...
She is
the only
very...
time she looks worse is when she's after half an ounce of Coke.
So I don't know if they use this saying in Australia, but she's very Marmite. And I know you guys have Vegemite, but do you ever use that analogy like we do? Like, you love it or you hate it? Is Vegemite, or does everybody love Vegemite in Australia?
No.
What did you say there, Waffles?
No.
Everyone loves Vegemite here.
No.
But you're not Australian, Luke, so you don't know.
It's
no,
true.
I
but...
know Australians that don't like it. But, I mean, Billy Piper, I mean...
She is Marmite, dude.
You either love her because of Doctor Who,
She was good in
or
Doctor
you
Who.
love her
Because you want to
because
jump her bones.
What's the show she was in? The prostitute one.
Oh, Diaries of a...
Secret Diary of a Call Girl.
Yeah.
You love her because of that. Like, seeing her riding around on some fat old politician like a horse.
Brilliant. No, she's not my cup of tea. Let's just say that. She's not my cup of tea. I think she's probably naturally quite dark, isn't she? So let's show the guys who we're talking about here. Hold on. Billy...
I just read that joke from Pewix.
Let me send you a
guy goes to a doctor and says, "Doctor, it hurts at the bottom." Doctor replies, "Where exactly?" The guy responds, "Around the entrance, it's sore." Doctor says, "As long as you call it the entrance, it will hurt." Oh my gosh. Classic. Okay,
I love it.
So for the guys who are wondering who Billy Piper is, I'm going to bring up 2 images here, and I'm going to bring up one. This is how Will sees her, and then this is how me and Paul see her. So hold on, I need to find a better... Did I say Will? I'm sorry, Luke.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Picture in Discord of how I find her.
Hey, Honey to the Bee is a #1 song, okay?
She was a singer, wasn't she, before? Hold on, I'm trying to find
Honey to the Bee.
I'm trying to find a good picture here for you, Luke. Give me a second. It's hard. It's hard to find a good picture of her to show the people.
Well, look up. Okay. You want to show a picture to show your side? Look up. I Hate Susie, her new show.
Yeah, I've pulled that one up. Yeah.
Some of the makeup in that is designed to make her look the worst.
This is the one that I've just pulled up. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
from
her
I Hate
greatest.
Susie.
But hold on, let's
So-
zoom back in a touch. Whoops, what have I
That's the
pressed?
whole point of the show is that's her worst moment, her world shattering. Her nude pictures have just been hacked
Scroll
through
down a
her
bit, James.
iPhone.
Scroll down a bit, James.
See, she looks all right
This-
there.
Scroll down. There's one in a pink top. Keep going. Scroll down, son.
KKK.
Scroll down.
Didn't just say KKK.
Oh, it's not there anymore. You fucked it.
Fucked it.
There's one of her in a pink top getting out of a car, and that's the best representation I can find of her. It's gone now.
Yeah, I mean she's not the ugliest of girls by far, but I think she looks a bit like not Pixie Lott. Who's
Look up Secret Diary of a Call Girl. Look at some of the pictures from her shoot when she was in that show. Because that'll show her done up, you know.
who's the singer?
There's one-
Paloma Faith. She looks a bit like Paloma Faith.
There's one with her, like the one with the riding crop, or the one in the
This
martini
one?
glass, that sort of thing.
This one here, isn't it? This one in the middle of the
Or
screen.
the second, or down the bottom.
This one?
Yeah, if you click on that, and then it says more images, the first one underneath.
This one?
So the one with the
Uh-oh.
riding crop.
Uh-oh, I've done it bad. I've done a bad thing. No, I think I've clicked the wrong one.
Yeah,
That-
if you click the wrong one.
Go
So
back up to the
one,
riding crop photo.
Yeah, I'm
Go
here.
back
the
up.
first one you click on.
Click on it. Click on the riding crop photo.
This one? Oh, and then
No,
this one.
Yeah, that one. Yep. Now, there. Yep.
That
and
one?
Now scroll down.
That's the one you
Yeah,
want to
that's
see,
the one.
innit?
on that
Will it bring up the picture in big?
Any,
Well,
any of them, really.
I mean, the advert's covering it up, but... God damn it. Can you believe
Yeah.
she was with Chris Evans, by the way? I mean, I know I said she ain't my cup of tea, but surely she's batting at a higher...
She's better than that, yeah.
Surely she bats at a
Oh,
higher division than Chris... I've got to show you Chris Evans now, guys. Because Chris Evans is just... And I'm not on about the
Tragic.
attractive Chris Evans. I'm not on about
No,
the
no.
Hollywood...
Not the Aussie.
No.
Not the Aussie.
The Hollywood heartthrob. I'm showing you this guy. Now, she was with this guy.
The ginger.
I mean, it's the ginger thing isn't necessarily bad. You can still be ginger and good looking, obviously, but this guy's just not. He just
Show me one good looking male ginger.
let's have a look.
Doesn't happen.
Male
Doesn't
ginger celebs. You've gonna
It's not
put
in your shortcuts
okay. Yeah. They've got Seth Green. They've got Prince Harry. I mean, these aren't
already. Harry is only considered a good looking
because he's a
ginger
prince.
because of the word prince in front of
I mean,
it.
he's not a
Yeah.
prince anymore, so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really pulling up anybody world class here, is it?
That's what I'm saying. Now you look up hot female ginger
Yeah. And it'll pull up
and
thousands.
it's just full.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Hopefully, he's got safe
You
search. on.
can't.
Imagine.
I
But
mean,
yeah.
you want to go Doctor Who? You want to go Doctor Who?
Yeah, I know who you're on
Karen.
about. Yeah.
Oh,
He's a good looking lady.
Oh.
You've got a thing for Doctor Who ladies, huh?
He does.
Doctor Who girls and Bond girls.
Okay, this next story, I've actually got my own story off the back of it, which is not related to me, but... So, a woman spends thousands on vet for farting dog before discovering the real culprit. So, a concerned dog owner who spent thousands on vet bills for her gassy dog was stunned when she discovered where the foul stench was really coming from. She explained that she was eating dinner when with her husband when she suddenly smelt something disgusting. My husband instantly made a face, so I knew it wasn't just me. I'm pregnant and my sense of smell has been a little sensitive in this time. I couldn't stand the smell and left the room. It honestly smelled like rotten eggs. I thought it was a one-off. Was, you know, dog's fart. Over the next week or so, the smell would come and go around inside. Eventually, believing that adorable pooch Jerry was the source of the foul stench, she changed his diet, but even that didn't fix it. So, let's have a look. When the results came back, all the tests shows the dog was fine. It came to a breaking point, burst into tears, full-on meltdown. Thought about losing Jerry. It had been going on for 5 weeks. Your husband confessed the farts weren't the dog, but they were him. So,
Classic.
it happens, doesn't it? We all know people that blame the dog. So, we was actually at we was actually at like the in-laws. We were around the wife's family, and the dog, our dog doesn't really do smelly farts all that often. Like, really doesn't. For a dog, she's really low on the spectrum of farting, and or smelly farts indeed. And when we was round there, she just started doing really, really, really bad farts, and I was like, this is so odd. And the brother-in-law's fiance just was like going, oh, that absolutely stinks. Like, anytime the smell would appear, like, she was piping up saying, that's disgusting. And then just before she went home, she was like, I've got to admit something, it was me. And we was all like, oh my God. So she was blaming the dog all day, and then finally come clean. I'm like, why did she even come clean? Like, we would have believed it was the dog, because people do just blame the dog, don't they? Have you guys ever had to do that?
Yeah.
I've never blamed the dog. I always own it.
Exactly. Take ownership.
I'm proud of mine.
Yeah.
My dog once let one rip while he was asleep. He woke up, looked over at us as if to say, that's disgusting.
Why
and
did you
walked out
wake
of the
me
room.
up? Yeah.
So, no, I think he thought it was me. My
Mhm.
dog blamed me for the smell.
Yeah, why did you wake me up, basically, is what he was saying.
I'm going to tell you a very funny, quick story about my first ever dog that I had for myself, Chipper. He was a lab staffy. He had some issues when he was young with barking, so he got him one of those citronella spray collars, right? So it detects when the dog barks and sprays a bit of citronella, and it's like automatic, like negative reinforcement for barking. It's not, not a punishment or anything, but it just tells them that barking's not acceptable. The first time we put it on, I was like 16 at the time. We put on the collar, and Mum and I stood there, and we tried to agitate him to bark, and he barked, and boom, out comes the citronella. And he took a smell, and his first reaction, he went around to his butt, sniffed it, looked back at us, and was like, "Nope, wasn't me. That's not my smell." It's
That's
like,
what
oh, God.
that does. I don't know if you've got to have done it in front of Alba, but when you fart in front of Alba, is that her first reaction as well? If you do a fart and she hears it, or
She actually jumps over and gets her nose right up my ring hole.
normally what happens if I fart? Pip runs in, then again, like you just said, smells herself, and then she's like, "Yep, not me."
See you later. No,
So funny.
Elba. I think Elba actually checks in on my personal health by monitoring the status of my farts. Honestly, like if she hears it, she'll come over nose first and just ram it right into the plumber's entrance.
She's actually checking your. Oh, what's that? What's the thing that the doctors check when they put the...
Prostate.
Yes, that's it. She's just giving you a quick prostate exam.
Checking for colon cancer.
Yeah. Imagine if she could bark. Dogs can detect that sort of things, can't they? They can detect cancers and all that good stuff. Well, I say good stuff.
Elba can detect my low blood sugars, but yeah, you can train them to detect cancer as well.
Oh, some of the stories, Waffles, you've got about Elba
Oh, yeah.
waking you up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, she's
as your
pretty
blood
amazing.
sugar's low.
What is she?
Yeah.
She's woke you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Why?
Yeah, so there's a theory around that dogs with good noses, so your Labradors, your Retrievers, and any type of Shepherd, have, if you get them at a young enough age, for a type 1 diabetic, which I am, they get in tune with, because diabetics emit pheromones when their
Mhm.
blood sugars are out of range, and dogs obviously can pick up on that. The first time I knew this, I'd gotten home from work, I had a nap. It was like Friday night, so I had a nap after work, and like I've got a constant blood glucose sensor in my arm, right? So that gives my live results every 5 minutes to my phone. And it'll alarm if I get out of range. It'll wake me up. It's fucking amazing technology. I went to sleep, and I woke up, and the dog had hit her paw on my cheek and was nudging me with a nose. And I'm like, what the hell do you want? And I sat up, and as a young German Shepherd pup, I was like, okay, you are basically, you just want to play. And I sat up, and she didn't want to play. I'm like, well, this is weird behavior. And I'm like, may as well check my blood sugars. And my blood sugars, they'd just have fallen off a cliff. Like I was going towards being unconscious type of thing.
God damn.
Elba had picked it up before any of the technology did. Before anything, she just smelt it on me and goes, something's wrong. And I remember seeing because we've got professional trainers for her. I spoke to my trainer the next week and said, look, this is what she did. And she said, oh yeah, very typical German Shepherd behavior. Thought something was up. Didn't know, like she doesn't know what's wrong, but she could smell it, she could detect it, and she wanted your reassurance to know that everything was okay, and she woke you up. But yeah, there's a whole, you can actually now train dogs to detect low and high blood sugars. So it's really interesting stuff. It's
We don't
really
deserve
interesting.
them, do we? Like, they've probably been doing this sort of stuff for years before we'd created the technology for it. They've obviously been saving people's lives for as long as man and dog have been side by side, you know? It's got to have been.
100%. And I look at Elba, like, she doesn't pick up on every single one that I have. But when she does, like, if she's around me, and she kind of has to be there for 5 or 10 minutes, you know, like lying with me or sitting on the lounge with me. And if they start to drop, particularly drops she picks up on, she will act very, very agitated. She'll want my attention. And it's like she wants to play, but it's like that reaction, you know, I want your attention because I want to play. But she doesn't go and fetches a ball. She doesn't go and goes and grab her rope. She doesn't do any of that. She will just sit there with me and paw at me and nudge me and tell me something's wrong. It's fucking amazing. You're right. We really do not deserve them.
And we've been on stream with Waffles and I have been on stream before, and he's we've gone to intermission because he's getting a bit low and sounds like he needs a drink of water or something. And he says, "Oh, the dog's acting really weird. This is so strange. Something's going on." And then he'll come back 5 minutes later. He goes, "I'm about to crash big time. I've got to jump off." And we'll quickly wrap up the stream so he can go off and do
Take what you need to, yeah.
But it's Elba coming up and setting him off, and he'll be talking to me. He goes, "She's so weird. I just asked her up to get on stream, and now she's doing all of this stuff."
Yeah,
They're
like,
amazing, aren't they?
Pay attention to her.
I remember that instance you were talking about, and she'd
Yeah.
actually come into the stream room and she was sitting under my desk at my feet, which she never does. She's very dominant. You know, she's a shepherd. She's very individualistic. She's never submissive until I put her into a submissive pose. She came into the room, nudged me, went under the desk, and put her head on my lap, which she never does. And I'm like, something's going on here. And I remember we spoke, and I'm like, we went to intermission. I've got to go check my blood sugars because Elba's been a bit weird. Check my blood sugars. Sure enough, she picked up on something.
Whoa, it's amazing, isn't it? Because my wife's cousin, she has this thing where she just basically just passes out, just literally just goes unconscious. And obviously, if you fall from standing up to being flat on the floor, you cause yourself a lot of injury. But her detection dog, she comes and like you say, sits in front of her, or when she's standing up, she sits in front of her and will bark at her or give her some sort of signal, and then my wife's cousin just sits down, and then she'll pass out at like a safe height rather than being standing up. And it's amazing that they can detect that change in, like you say, the pheromones or whatever it is you're giving off, and then react accordingly. But yeah, they're just a lifesaver. They're just a
I shouldn't
mad.
laugh, but I had the same problem, and then I started Then I stopped drinking standing up, and now I don't have that problem anymore.
But it's so amazing to me as well that you can attach a human via some sort of handle to a dog, and the dog would be able to guide them safely around the world. Like when blind people are given, dogs for the blind.
100%,
Oh my
yeah.
god, what an amazing thing! Like, why there isn't more money thrown at support detection dogs?
Well, a cousin of mine, she's visually impaired, and she's got a guide dog, and I've sat back and watched them, and it's just like every other dog I've seen in every other occasion has gone off and done something else, but this dog is not distracted at all. She is 100% focused on my cousin, and the two of them, the bond that they have is just wow.
Inseparable.
I had
isn't
a
it?
I had a lecturer at university that had brittle bone disease, so very, very small woman, very susceptible to falling over or being bumped because she was tiny. And she had a service dog called Riker, and she, this dog basically would go with her everywhere. As soon as it had its harness on, it was in work mode, right? Fucking work mode. Then when the harness came off, it was a normal fucking pet. And it was crazy because it would walk into lectures and Riker would sit at the foot of the lectern with Joe, who was the lecturer, and sit there with its harness on, would not react to anybody, would just stay there, make sure that the boss was okay. I saw Riker have his harness taken off once, and as soon as the harness was taken off, bang, snap, completely different dog. I'm a pet. I'm a normal fucking dog now. I'm going to run around. I'm going to shit everywhere. I'm going to piss everywhere. I'm going to bite people.
It's like they're at work, isn't it? It's like they've got the uniform on. It's incredible that they can even know that just by putting an item on them. Okay, I've got to be serious now. I'm doing my job. It's incredible. Like, they're just
I know cops like that.
As soon as the
I used
uniform
to-
comes off, they're doing drugs and partying all night, and then as soon as the uniform's on, they're arresting people for the same thing.
Close. We used to run a nightclub, and after a lot of the local members of the force used to come around for a few drinks on their nights off, and yeah, the number of times we had them, lying on the bar, lying across the bar, having shots, doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But come the day, put the vest on, 100% serious.
Yeah,
Work.
again, my in-laws are friend with some coppers, and they say like when they're around the house having drinks and a laugh, you'd never guess he was a copper, but as soon as, like you say, he goes out to work, he's this serious, like very professional man.
Life and
But
death, yeah.
let's face it, people are human. They're just like you and I. It's just a circumstance or a piece of clothing that changes what they have to do in life. So going back to
It's
Paul's...
like you put the headphones on your ears and you're 100% professional.
No, fuck off. So while we were talking about Paul's rectal examination, we'll go on to about more gross things, and it's a gross image showing why you should always close the toilet lid when you flush. I'm sure you guys have heard this before, because I certainly have.
I've seen it on Mythbusters or wasn't it those shows where they talk about the actual distance the splash from the toilet travels across your toilet.
Look at that
Across
graphic.
the room.
Look at that fucking graphic of the piss when you flush it. That's what happens to all the urine and the poo particles, and it's disgusting, isn't it? Because I'm
not too concerned because the amount of farts that I do, there'd be more poo particle in my pants at any one time than anywhere wall or a surface in the bathroom from just flushing.
and up people's nostrils and in their mouth.
It's
correct.
it's like the coronavirus, isn't it? Like 2.5 meters or 3 meters from the toilet bowl. The travel, the distance. It's
Oh wait,
disgusting.
because the shit in your shit, you've got the coronavirus. Is that what you're saying?
No, like coronavirus, you're meant to keep 1.5 meters apart from people because of the splatter of coughs and stuff. Well, the toilet bowl, they recommend keeping your toothbrush at least, I'm sure it's 2 or 3 meters from the bowl,
Yeah,
if not more.
luckily,
because of the splash. Because a lot of places, and not so much out in Australia, a lot of toilets are separate from their bathrooms. But I remember back home in the UK, a lot of toilets are in the bathrooms.
Yeah,
and usually right next to the
it's the
sink,
toilet. Yeah,
the basin.
yeah.
Or right next to the bath, in which case you're bathing in your own shit and urine.
That's mental because.
Well, I'm
all
all piss in the bath anyway. So.
That's true.
But when my toothbrushes, toothbrushes. I was trying to think of the plural of toothbrush. I was like, teeth brush.
It's actually teeth bry.
Yeah, they're actually locked away in a cupboard underneath the sink, luckily. So everything like that's protected. But like you say, the taps, the shower,
So just getting mouldy then.
Yeah, just go mouldy, in a dark, dingy cupboard.
Thunder. Rolling thunder. I've done some farts, I swear, and the smell would outlast religion, mate.
Dads normally do have the worst farts purely because we eat them, like, dads eat the like older males eat the most shit and drink the most shit and don't really look after their diets for the most part. Or granddad farts.
The day my daughter was born, my farts turned toxic and my hair turned grey.
That's true. How many kids have you got, Luke?
Just the one, mate. I couldn't take anymore.
And how old is she?
I should know this.
You've had a few drinks, we'll give you a few minutes.
8.
Did you just answer for him, Paul?
No, that's me. 8. She's 8 years old.
I'm letting him roll.
And,
I'm letting him do his own thing.
I thought Paul went, she's 8.
She's 8
and
years
then you
old.
went, yeah, she's 8.
Going on 16.
Oh, I hate that.
No,
That's the most funny thing, the
though,
attitude.
The attitude.
Now,
It's
question,
like it's time for bed.
is her...
Fine.
Yeah, is her and her mom besties? Like, is your wife... Are you married?
No, I did the right thing. I proposed, and then we sort of just haven't mentioned it since.
Okay, that's good.
Years.
That's it. You've done the honourable thing. So are mother and daughter very close, like best friends?
Yeah, they're close, but
Too much like
in
each
a
other?
different sort of way. Sort of, yeah, very emotional, very caring, nurturing, blah, 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 rubbish.
Do they fight a lot?
Yeah, they very. No, they don't fight. They sort of are besties and they do everything together. But when I'm home, it's all serious, all business. Bedtime is bedtime. This is this, that is that. When her mum's home, she pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes until she gets away.
Yeah. That was like my sister and my mum when I was growing up. They'd just be at each other's throats because Dad wasn't there because he was working nights or whatever. And then but you find they're close as well because of that.
Look, I think we're close, and she listens to me because I buy a ship.
That's the best way. Bribery.
That's it. You know, we have the running gag. What does Mum say when we go out? No. What does Dad say when we go out? Yes.
That's normally the way, isn't it? Daddy's little girl you're wrapped around her little finger.
It's not that. Look, I work a lot. I'm working, sort of 50, 60 hours a week. So it's sort of that.
You want to spoil her when you're with her.
Yeah.
And make up for lost time.
You feel bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not spoil. I don't want to spoil. But, yeah, I don't see a problem with a treat when we go out. I don't see a problem with getting something when you go out. It's not spoiling. If you're behaving, you can get something. That's fine.
So when you're out, you get like a Macca's equivalent or whatever.
Yeah, Macca's, a frozen yogurt, an ice cream, a pop, something like soda, something like that. I've got her hooked on Iron Brew now.
Oh no! What a disaster for her. She's basically Scottish now. Then
her grandmother's Scottish. So,
say no more.
She lives out here, and she's introduced her to that.
You're gonna get her eating battered Mars bars and stuff as well now, aren't you? And what's the other thing?
No,
the Scottish
her
have?
grandmother got her on cheese and jam sandwiches.
Cheese and jam?
That's exactly how I reacted until I had a bite of one.
I could imagine that's really good because cheese and chutney is a big thing, isn't it? You know, cheese crackers, chutney, all that stuff is massive.
That sweet and that cheese cutting through together.
That does sound good.
Everyone always sort of looks at it and goes, "Oh, cheese and jam is disgusting," but now have a bite. Seriously, I was that way, and it's nice now.
Wes Mickers says he give his daughter tons of candy and then pawns her off on her mother so she's hyper. Oh my god, Kieran, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. That's an
Cheers
evil.
to you, Wiz.
He's just raised his glass to you. He's just raised his glass to you, didn't you? Come on, be honest.
Actually, hang on. As we do traditional on our stream, Waffles, have you got yours ready?
Hang on. I need to read top up.
I've got my water.
All right,
on,
here we
cheers,
go.
guys.
Get that.
This is the sound that.
Oh, that was nice.
There we go. The pop.
Threatened me with a good time.
A bit of ASMR.
We like that. Okay, so just for the new people that are here right now, again, what are you guys drinking?
Waffles is on the Glenlivet Nadura. It's Oloroso casked Scotch at 60.3% ABV.
And I've just switched over to the Glenmorangie Nectar d'Or, which is a 46% single malt sherry cask finish.
Very nice, very nice. And Wes is drinking Foster's, typical Aussie drink, right?
Well, yes, but under a different name.
Wait, what do you call Foster's?
Yeah, it's Crown Lager. In Australia, Crown Lager is exported. So when you drink Foster's overseas, it's what we drink as Crown Lager here in Australia. The Foster's in Australia is absolute rat piss. Like it's rubbish. So you guys are actually drinking a premium beer, a premium Australian beer that is rebranded to be more Australian as Foster's, because Foster's is very well known as being Australian. So they take a better beer, put it in a Foster's can, and send it overseas.
Because Foster's is like a big name, and that's why they used that, did they?
Correct.
The thing is, I'd got told by people there was like Foster's isn't even a thing in Australia. You don't go to you don't go to a bar and say, "Can I have a pint of Foster's?" Nobody does that in Australia.
What you get as Foster's, or we used to get as Foster's back in the UK, is actually drinkable.
Yeah, I don't like it that much. I'm not a big fan.
So if you ever come to Australia and you want what you know as Foster's, ask for a Crown Lager and be equivalent 100%. Belgium does have the best beer. My favourite beer on earth is Quack, Paulaner Quack. Unbelievable red ale. I'm a big red ale fan.
Albeit, I believe Crown is a little bit stronger than Foster's.
Yes, Crown is stronger than Foster's.
Content.
Yes.
Wes Mick says he sounds Queensland or New South Wales. Which states are you in again, guys? Or province?
I'm New South Wales, and the imitation Australian with a British accent is Victoria.
Good day, sir. I am Australian.
Do you like?
What the fuck was that? I've never heard you.
I am Australian, good sir.
In the years that I've known you, Luke, I've never heard you try an Australian accent. That was disgraceful.
Sir. Good day. I am Australian.
Oh, Wes is from the South Isle.
There you go.
Wes is from the South Isle.
The South Isle.
You want to talk about beers from Australia? Tassie beers, top notch.
Are they?
It's the water down there.
And
right?
Tassie Scotch
Yeah.
too. I've got a, you know what, Wes? I've
Oh,
got a bottle
lark.
here of Tassie Scotch.
Hellier's Road.
Hellier's Road. It is Hellier's Road, peated. It's Hellier's Road peated right here. And it's amazing. It's really, really good. It's the only peated Scotch you'll see me ever drink.
Ooh, see, do you like Stella? I like a Stella. That's Belgian, right? Oh,
Isn't Stella Dutch?
that's a good question. Stella
All
Artois.
Greek to me.
Stella Artois. I'm sure that's Belgian. Let's have a look.
Give me a
Oh, you're
pot.
not far from Hellier. Oh my god, Wes. I'm so jealous, dude.
Yes,
I've had
Stella
this
is
bot-
Belgian. Yeah.
It is. Okay, there you go. No,
Wes,
Stella's
Wes, you
too
need to
mainstream.
send Jay a bottle of Hellier
Oh God.
so
Yeah,
that Jay can
Wes-
learn to drink properly.
Yep.
Is it
Hellier's Road
what's
is
Hellier?
unreal.
Wine?
No,
Whiskey.
Scotch.
Oh, it's Scotch. Oh.
hmm
Boomers, how you doing? Boomers, he's asked for a whiskey and coke. He's Australian. James, where are you from again
Okay.
in Australia? Go on, carry on, guys. Sorry.
Boomers, whiskey and Coke is only acceptable if the whiskey is blended.
I.e.
Yes,
Jack
correct.
Daniels.
So, Jack, no,
Well, that's bourbon.
Ah,
that's
sorry.
bourbon.
Okay, I'm clearly not a
Although he
connoisseur.
did spell it with an E, so no, Waffles, he did spell it with an E.
Oh, okay.
So that's
well, good.
fine.
Good.
Whiskey bourbon with an E,
Yeah.
that's okay. Now, whiskey like Johnny Walker, Chivas Regal, Bell's, JB, any of that sort of stuff is all blended. That's fine with Coke, not a problem. Go for your life.
Yeah,
whatever.
I do
But
like
a
that.
nice single malt.
Have you guys ever had Famous Grouse? I found that fucking disgusting when I drank that.
No, I would never touch it. By the way,
Oh, it's like
James, have you,
paint
ever
stripper.
have you ever seen behind me on stream? So I have my best
Yes, you have
Scotch
your-
behind me.
Yeah.
The stuff that I usually drink on the stream is usually behind me.
Hmm.
Now, on that top shelf, I have all of my Scotch whiskies, the stuff that I absolutely love. Now, what's funny is that below my desk here, hidden from view, is what I put in my Coke when I have that on stream, and that is Johnny Walker Red. Because at no stage should anybody ever drink JW, because it is filth. It is absolute filth, dog. And I think you deserve to be shot if somebody says Johnny Walker is their favorite Scotch, they're not a Scotch drinker.
Hold on, you're mixing Johnny Walker with Coke, so you wouldn't drink that
Absolutely.
straight.
Of course.
No, hell no,
No.
hell no.
Even like the more premium ones that are like hundreds/thousands of pounds per bottle.
Yeah,
No.
fuck that. Not worth it. I'd rather
Really?
spend that on a Glen Rothes. I'd rather spend £500 on a bottle of Glen Rothes than £1,000 on any type of bottle from Johnny Walker.
Whenever I've tried to drink whiskey straight, it always is like trying to slowly drink a shot of vodka. In my opinion, it literally
Okay,
strips
so
your
it's-
throat.
It really depends on what sort of whiskey you're drinking. Waffles was talking before about Paul was talking about his the only peated whiskey he'll drink is Hellier's Road. So the peated smoky whiskies, yeah, you'll feel like that, and it is acceptable to add a couple of drops. No,
Of
the word
water.
drop
A shot of water,
of water to that,
or not that much.
Not
too
that much, yeah.
Too much. Like you use a pipette and you slowly drop single drops of water into it
It's a skill.
until it's palatable for you. Yeah, 100%.
Oh god.
But if you like sweeter stuff, then looking at some of the sherry
Mhm.
cask finishes, you'll be able to down those quite easily. Like,
Okay, so what
it's
would you
not a great
recommend
whiskey, but
in the UK? What sherry
the
whiskey?
Glenlivet 12.
Glen.
Well, not even a sherry, but the Glenlivet 12 year is a very easy to drink whiskey neat as an entry level.
Let me see. Okay, that's
Would you
not too
agree, Waffles?
bad.
Okay, yeah. So James, there's not really sherry whiskey. So it has to do with the casks that they use for the whiskey. So,
Yeah, sorry.
for example, what I'm drinking at the moment, which is the Nadura, right? So that's in an Oloroso cask. So Oloroso is a type of sherry. So they will use a sherry cask to actually distill the Scotch. So Oloroso is typically responds to a region of Spain, Jerez. And Jerez has some of the best sherry and port in the world. So they use casks that have been previously made for sherry and port. They ship them, and they use that to develop the flavor that's in the Scotch. The thing on the fucking Nadura is that they extracted at cask strength. So there's no extraction method following the casking of it, which means it sits at cask strength, which is 60.3. Now this shit will tear you to pieces. If they actually...
Shall we tell him the story of the first time you drank it on stream?
Uh
Oh, and I basically passed the fuck out.
oh.
He got
Okay.
a glass and a half in, and it's like, guys,
I had
gonna-
like 5
I-
fingers.
I'm
And
gonna
I-
end.
and I didn't realize it was
Good night.
60%.
Oh my
I
God.
did not know until I got knocked the fuck out by this stuff that it was 60%. But yeah, so what
Funniest shit ever.
What Luke's talking about is basically the cask method. So you'll find that, there are American oak casks, there's French oak casks. There's this new movement towards sherry casking Scotch because it adds
Sweetness. Uh-oh. Did I lose you guys? Uh-oh. I think I lost you guys. Give me a second. You can still hear
Oh,
me.
no.
Oh,
I can hear you.
there we go. I got you back now. You was on about sherry.
Beautiful.
They were moving towards
Yeah.
sherry casking, and I spoke over you.
Yeah, so they're moving towards sherry casking because it adds some sweetness. It takes away from the smoke or peatiness if there's any peat in the Scotch. But yeah, so there's 5 different corners of the Scotch flavor profile. There's floral, there's fruit or sweetiness, there's peat, there's smoke, and then there's earthiness, which you can sometimes confuse with tobacco. So I prefer more on the floral and the smoky side. Sweet I don't really like, but that's why the Nadura is really good for me because it's smoky. There is one Scotch now. If you guys are into Scotch, I'm going to recommend one Scotch that you should go out and buy, and that is Talisker Sky. So it's made on the Isle of Skye, obviously by Talisker, but the start of it's the most complex Scotch I've ever had. The start of it is complete and utter sweetness, and it's just fruit. It's a fruit explosion, and then it stops after a few seconds, and then boom, the heat and the smokiness comes in. So if you ever want to find out what type of Scotch you're going to like, go get a bottle of Talisker Sky, and if you like the first part of the taste, you like the fruity side. If you like the second part of the taste, you like the smoky and peaty side of them.
Will that be nice? I wonder if I can get that from Morrison's. It's saying I can buy it from Tesco's. I'm not sure if you'd have to order it.
Tesco sells everything, even.
Let me see if they've got it at Morrison's.
In your chats. Oh, fuck, I need my glasses. Scalivion.
Scalivon de Curu.
That's the one. Ardberger's lovely. 15-year. I'm Drunkle Bob in chat, so I replied to you on there. The Glenmorangie 10's nice. I prefer the Quinta Rabanne and the Nectar d'Or. I like the sweeter stuff.
Glenfiddich burnt my throat as well. I didn't like the Glenfiddich.
You probably had a 12 then.
Yeah.
Burnt the fuck out of my neck, man. I was like, oh. I finished it.
If
Obviously, I dropped an ice cube in there, but it burnt the fuck out of me.
If you do want to get into Scotch, just definitely start at the 15-year-old range because that's the price that you can still buy it at if you don't like it and be accepted, but you won't have the really filthy commercial produced stuff like Johnny Walker Red. Like if you've tasted Scotch,
I was saying for him to try the Glenlivet 12. It's a cheap.
I would stay away
price
from
point
the Glen
in the
12.
UK.
I'd stay away from the Glen 12. There's no.
It's like water.
It is.
So would you say go for that one from Sky if I can order it?
Absolutely. Talisker Sky
100%.
is unbelievably good. Great for an entry Scotch. Great for people who like different flavor profiles. And it's mind blowing. Like what you'll do as a Scotch drinker is you'll get very used to very distinct flavor profiles of the drink. Talisker Sky blows that to pieces because it starts sweet, it just stops. Like when it's still in your mouth, it stops. You'll drink it, and then about 2 seconds later, the heat and the smoke hits, and it's a completely different flavor.
Do you know what I should do? On Amazon, they've got Yeah, on Amazon they've got 3 different types. They've got what does it contain? It's like £12 for basically 3 shots. I'm just trying to see what it contains.
No, mate, just go down Tesco. Get Talisker Sky, not the Storm, not the 10-year. Just Talisker.
Yeah, it's got one of each. It's got one of each of those things you just mentioned in there.
Just grab one bottle. Just grab one bottle of Sky.
Trust us. Go to Tesco.
It's
Trust us.
35 quid on Amazon, or yeah.
Go to Tesco.
And as a warning, I think Sky sits
Pick yourself
above...
up some Twiglets and sit down. Have some Twiglets and Sky. You're fine.
Twiglets
I think
are rank.
now, as a word of warning, Sky, I'm pretty sure from memory, sits above 40%. I think it's around the 48, maybe a bit less.
No,
46. 46, there you go.
guess.
Yep. So it is a bit above the 40% stock standard Scotch. So you are getting something that's a little bit stronger.
Do you know what would be amazing to do one day on this channel is have all the different whiskies, and we all have them, and we all sup them at the same time and review them.
Okay, we're going to do that. I'm gonna hold you to that, mate. Because you know me, I will get pissed on stream without a second's
Well, I'll come up
hesitation.
with a list for you. Just to answer your chat, the
Okay.
blind girl. I didn't realize someone could talk about alcohol so much. You've got to understand that Waffles and I are from Australia, or in Australia. Everything here tries to kill us,
Everything.
so we drink. It's
Spiders,
the only way to cope in Australia.
snakes, crocodiles,
The weather,
mosquitoes, people,
yeah,
Jellyfish,
jellyfish are a big
Jellyfish.
one. Yeah.
birds.
Birds. Yeah. Don't you have
Bird-
those crazy big birds that can stab you with their
Magpies.
claws?
magpies. Have you seen the magpies
What, in Australia? Are they
in
bigger?
Australia?
Are they bigger than
So-
the UK?
So magpies. No. They're about the same size as the UK magpie.
I think my
like a crow.
connection's dropping, guys.
Uh-oh, he's dropping
Yeah,
packets.
you're dropping out a little bit. Yeah, they're like the UK or crows. You know, the same sort of size as crows. But in Australia, we have a thing called swooping season,
Okay.
where every spring you've got cyclists ride along with coat hangers sticking out of their, like little spikes sticking out of their helmets,
Right.
because the birds will swoop you. There was actually a story in the paper recently. A guy lost his eyeball to a magpie attack while he was riding.
Why do they do that? Are they
They
protecting their young?
Protecting their nests, yeah, 100%. And yeah,
That
they will
has started
swoop
to
you.
happen here. That has started to happen here in some places. I had heard of that earlier in the
They
year
are
where cyclists were getting
vicious.
attacked. Why do they only attack cyclists?
Shiny things, I guess. They
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And because a lot of the cycle paths meander through the trees here, like they all go. We don't have a lot. Australia's sort of, you know, because it is a big country, people think that there's all this space, but 90% of the country lives on like 15% of the coast.
Yeah.
It's all, you know, sort of squeezed up. So we've got these green belts for all the cities, and yeah, the magpies live there, and all the, you know, we've got kangaroos in some of them. I've got, where I work, there's kangaroos in the back fields and all that sort of thing. So the magpies just go boom, and will sweep you as you're walking. But not just cyclists; they'll do it to walkers. They'll do it to kids. Playgrounds have to be in an area where there's no trees around, because the
Jesus.
magpies will come and attack kids. They are absolutely
Jesus.
vicious.
So my next question is, what about cassowaries? You seen one of them bad boys?
You don't go near them.
Yeah, they kill you, don't they, with their claws? They'll stab you in the chest.
Well, yeah, but you'd have to get pretty up close and personal with it. They're not exactly roaming the streets.
The peninsula.
They're few and far between, and generally in the sort of green areas.
Trying to show the guys here. Here we go. Please don't play any audio, I beg you. Mute site. Here we go. I just want to show them the picture of the cassowary. Where is the fucking picture though? I've clicked on the article where the picture was and it hasn't pulled it up. Is this it?
It was in the video. It was a screenshot from the video, wasn't it?
Here we go. Oh, look at the baby cassowary. That's absolutely adorable.
Yeah, but the big ones, don't go near them.
They will kill you, won't they?
It's like a very angry turkey. Well, it's Australia's version of a turkey.
But they've got stabby big claws, right?
Yeah, but you know, we said about Australia trying to kill you and everything.
That's what I was on about. That's just...
Yes, it will, but a lot of things, it doesn't happen. Yeah, like the spiders. We've got funnel webs and black widows and redbacks and all that sort of thing. But generally speaking, very few people get bitten by them or will die from them per year, because there's anti-venoms in all the hospitals, and they're not exactly. They don't come into your house, jump on you, and bite you just for the shit of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. Basically.
Yeah, a bit like gypsies. You leave them alone, they'll leave you alone.
Well,
It's all good. They can have
Romanies.
the panic attack.
Romany gypsies
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
you bump into Romany gypsies quite frequently now, but
I dated one in high school. Yeah, I dated one back when I was in primary school.
yeah, they're actually like they leave you to it, don't they? It's like they just want to live on the land and chill. It's the
I mean, I had to emigrate from the UK to Australia to get away from the family who wanted me to marry the daughter.
oh really?
But generally speaking, they were fine.
Yeah. The
God, I go for 1 minute, and this is where the conversation goes.
yeah, we're talking about
Like,
gypsies. But the other, the other gypsies, like the traveling gypsies in the modern caravans,
Yeah.
the ones that go around like robbing supermarkets and promising to finish people's driveways and taking the money and never showing up to do the work and all that stuff. Those are not. Those guys don't get a good rep, do they? Those gypsies.
We call them Irish backpackers over here.
They love a scrap as well, they don't they?
They come and knock on the door and say, "I'll clean your driveway for you.
It's
I'll mow
weird,
your
isn't it?
lawn. I'll paint your number."
Yeah, they there's a real like they get lumped in with them, don't they? They get lumped in all as gypsies, like as a broad term, but they're very different kinds of people. Like even the way they live their lives is very different. They are
Well,
they are
it's the
roaming
same as
people,
in
but
Australia. In Australia, they call us poms.
yeah,
Yeah, we're pommies.
yeah,
Of course you are.
We're English, yeah. But you know, and I know that the difference from Penzance to from Land's End to John O'Groats
fucking hell,
is
massive.
huge difference.
Go from Birmingham to bloody London, 2 hours away.
I remember one of my lasting memories, and I'm not saying this. I'm gonna use accents, and I don't mean it to be racist, so please don't take it that way, anybody. But I remember catching the train from Penzance to Paddington,
Yeah,
and you jump on the train in Penzance, and it's this be the 9:15 Penzance to Paddington. First stop Snorth, then Snorstal.
How much has he had to
Yeah.
drink?
No, that's how they say Snurth, Snorstal, Bodmin.
How much have you had
Right.
tonight?
Then you
How
get to
much
Plymouth.
have you drunk, Luke? Have
You haven't
necked
heard.
up-
Trust me, you haven't heard me. Then you get to Plymouth, and this is the 9:15 Penzance to Paddington. Next stop, Exeter St David's.
that's not the
all the
accent
way
in
up.
Plymouth. The Plymouth accent is
No.
Greater me. That's how they talk
Yeah,
in
but that's-
Plymouth.
Yeah, but that's the guard that gets on at Plymouth.
Oh, he's posh.
Right.
The one guard.
Yeah. And you get him up to Reading, and then at Reading, it's
Oh, that is posh.
this is the 9:15 Penzance to Paddington. Next stop is Paddington Station.
That is not the Reading accent. The Reading accent sounds like your Oxford accent.
Because the Reading guard isn't from Reading.
I
He's from
thought
India.
I actually thought Luke was making a racial comment there and trying to do an Indian accent. I actually thought
I may
that
have-
was.
I may have been trying.
I
It
thought
wasn't very good.
I thought that.
I don't do accents because I'm not racist.
No, you don't. You don't.
Thank
You shouldn't do accents when you're drinking. That's what you shouldn't do.
Yeah, okay. My point is that the difference from Penzance to Paddington in the guards when they get on at Penzance and off at Plymouth and on again and then off at Reading and then off to Paddington is as different as from Paddington to Birmingham. You know, as you travel up through the counties, the accents of the guards who are
Massively.
doing the announcement. Well, yeah. You know,
Massively.
but as far as we're concerned in Australia, everyone is a pob. You're all the same.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
So was it
So
you guys who
that's what I'm
told me?
sort of
Was it you guys who educated me about a pommy wash, or was that another Aussie who told me about that?
What sink washing your meat?
Yeah. Was that you guys or somebody else?
I know what sink washing your meat is.
Someone else may have told you, but yeah.
When you've got a
Calling
lady
it-
friend come.
Yeah, but they call it a pommy wash, don't they? Well, you guys call it a pommy wash, don't you, over there?
When you sink wash your meat.
Yeah.
Opted all out here when I first arrived because they're sort of like, as far as they were concerned in Australia, English people don't have showers.
Are they calling us
And I said
smelly?
100% true.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, but
wow.
Yeah, but I agreed with them. I said 100% true. You know, growing up as a kid back in the UK in the 80s,
Yeah.
we didn't have a shower. We had baths.
Yeah. I was always quite fortunate that we had both, I guess. But I know what you're saying about, because I know like some of the older generations, like grandparents, siblings, so like your great aunties and uncles, like back in their days, they'd shower they'd bath like twice a week or something. Once at the end of the week, once in the middle of the week. That was a completely normal thing because they couldn't afford to be running the hot water that much back in the war times,
Sorry, I'm half a bottle in. So, my dear James, what we say is bathe.
Hey,
Bath is a city just over near Bristol, okay?
here he is, the
Bathe
Oxford
is
guy
what
is
you do
back,
when you're
Paul.
clean.
He's back. He's
back.
back.
The Oxford
The
kid's back.
Cockney's
He
back.
did warn us, didn't he? He did warn us that the more he had to drink, the more English he'd get.
Oh, trust me,
More
I'm used to having it on stream, and I know that's why I can only get to 2.5 hours. Because if he starts streaming at the start of stream, he's fucking uncontrollable by the 2.5 hour mark.
Brilliant.
So
Okay.
I have to say, I've had 3/4 of a bottle of, and it's only 46%. So
Oh my god, you've got to be fucked. Jakey boy, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. So, guys, what we're going to do is now we're going to move on. We've got like 3 more stories left to cover. So, this story here, this was one of Paul's favourites. An Indian doctor paid £72,000, which is about 140 plus Australian dollars. 140,000. Yeah.
About that 130.
For Aladdin's lamp after being fooled by a fake genie. Dr. Leek Khan told police in the northern state of Uttar Pradesh that trickster pretended to be an occultist and made a genie appear from the lamp, saying it would make him rich.
I used that line at a club one night.
What did he say?
The genie pops out.
What? The genie was a second con woman who was in on the swindle. The impressed victim paid 7 million rupees for the lamp, but when he brought it home and a genie failed to appear, he realised he had been a victim of an audacious scam and contacted the police. Dr. Khan told the news outlet that he met the 2 men while treating a woman he thought was their mum. Oh my god. Gradually they started telling me about Baba, who's a priest, whom they claimed also visited their home. They started brainwashing me and asked me to meet the genie. The doctor reportedly met the genie, who seemed to perform such rituals. However, during one of his visits, the men, Dr. Khan said when he had... I've misread that. However, during one of his visits to the men, Dr. Khan said that when he asked if he could touch the genie or take the lamp home, he was told he could harm the genie. When the men sold the lamp to him, they promised it would bring health, wealth, and good fortune. Mate, people are bonkers, aren't they? 93,000 American dollars. God damn.
See, I've never had a problem with them touching the lamp.
I'm sure you haven't. I'm sure you haven't. Paul's deafened up again. I hope he's all good. Have you ever been swindled? Like, something weird like that? I need to attend to...
We seem to have lost Waffles.
Oh, yeah. All right, Paul. No worries, mate. You take care. We're nearly wrapping up now anyway. Luckily, Luke's still here to keep me company. So, my friend actually was driving along the road and he seen this guy broken over, like trying to wave people down. And he didn't look like necessarily like an English native. He was wearing like traditional, Eastern clothes. And so my friend pulled over to help him, thinking, oh, he's probably not from around here. He's probably stuck. Because where we're from, there's not really any local congregations of those people from that background. And so he pulled over to help them, and there was like, I'm really sorry, I'm trying to get to... Basically, he was in the Midlands, and he was like, I need to get to Manchester to my wife. She's in hospital up there having my baby. And I've ran out of fuel. He was like, I've lost my wallet. I've run out of fuel. I can't get there. And my friend was like, oh God, okay, I'll get you some fuel. Here's 20 quid. He goes, I've got enough to get to the petrol station. He was like, if you could tell me basically he said, where's the nearest petrol station? My friend said, it's that way. It's about, 2 minutes in the car. And my friend said, the guy says, perfect. That's perfect. And he goes, okay, I'll give you some money for some fuel so you can get back to your family. And he says, oh my God, that's so generous. Like, I'll get the money back to you. Like, what's your address? I'll send it in the post. So my friend gives him the 20 quid and he goes, oh, I'll give you this ring as well. Like, he takes this ring off his finger, this gold ring. It looks amazing. Like, it looks like £1,000 ring. It's pure gold. And my friend was like, oh, yeah, you didn't need to do that. I was just going to give you the 20 quid as a gesture. And he takes the ring and the guy takes the dress. Anyway, he goes on for a few weeks, keeping hold of this ring, thinking that the man would return the money and he'd get the ring back. Because obviously he didn't want to keep this £1,000 looking ring because he felt like it wasn't just for the £20 he'd been given. Anyway, time passed on, a couple of weeks passed. He was like, let's go and get this ring valued then, see how much it's worth. He takes it in and the guy goes, it's worth about £1.50. Completely fake. Got completely done out of trade. The guy was just a chancer who basically made £19 on a gold ring. That was the exchange. A gold ring for £19. People, have you ever been swindled? No?
I wouldn't call it swindled. I mean, I did give a stripper $100 once, but that was just because I was in a good mood.
He was in a good mood? Fuck, dude.
Oh, backstory is it was a friend's buck stew. So we'd gone out to the races, then we'd gone out to dinner, and then as you are at buck stews, you end up at a strip club.
Okay.
And we had the private. We knew the manager, well, we knew the owner and the manager, and the head of security, and so we all got in for free. So we're in the VIP area going on, and the girls rotate around. Hang on, let me rephrase that in a different way. The girls take different turns at being on the stage in the private area.
Mm-hmm.
And this one had finished, and we said, come sit down. We had bottles galore because we were all getting hammered. And so she joined us for a few drinks, and it turned out she was from the UK. And without 100%, I did not prompt in any way, shape, or form. She was from a town about 2 towns over from where I grew up in Oxford.
No way.
And we started talking about the areas, and at the end she was saying, look, she's working there because she's just got a house and all this sort of stuff, and what she was trying to save up for was a new mattress for her bed. So I'm like, let me go downstairs across the road into the servo, take some money from the ATM, come back, go up the stairs, here's a little tip for you to put towards your mattress. Didn't even get a dance out of it.
Ah, shit. That's
I wouldn't call
disappointing.
it swing, because I wasn't looking for that. It was just I was trying to be nice.
Yeah, and you wanted a dance, but she didn't give you one.
My lawyer has said I'm not allowed to answer that question.
What did you call it? A bucks do instead of a bucks what did you call it?
Bucks do.
Yeah, like we
As in
call
a
it a stag.
buck, not
We call it a
buck.
stag do, right?
Stag, yeah.
Yeah.
Stag, buck, same thing.
Brilliant.
Male, deer.
Brilliant. So,
Yeah, I had no problems with that whatsoever.
what we're gonna do is, guys, we're gonna go and raid Tobesy. He's streaming Subnautica. I really want to thank Luke and Waffles for sticking by here today and joining me for another episode of Just a Brew. And thank you very much, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. See you later. Bye bye.